We're seaside, Gangneung, the Republic of Korea. Some things are universal, like throwing rocks into the water. Beautiful late autumn morning here in Gangneung. The Olympic venue for the Pyeongchang curling at the Winter Olympic Games. A little bit of a breeze here this morning, and here is our venue, the Gangneung Curling Center. Host for the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018, and our feature game this morning, the Trans-Tasman battle between Australia and New Zealand. Let's meet the teams. Here's Team Australia. At lead, Steve Johns. Playing at second is Dustin Armstrong. Throwing third stones and skipping is Jay Merchant. And throwing fourth stones is Dean Hewitt. Here's Team New Zealand. At lead, Warren Dobson. At second, Anton Hood. Simon Nielsen is playing at third. And the skip is Scott Becker. Teams preparing for the start of the game. And here's what it means in the standings. China unbeaten at 4-0. Korea, Japan right behind them at 3-1 and 2-1 respectively. New Zealand at 2-1. Australia at 1-2 coming into this game. Top four will make the playoffs. This game very important for both teams. We'll keep an eye on all the games for you this morning. On Sheet A, Chinese Taipei takes on Korea. On Sheet B, China takes on Kazakhstan. Qatar faces Japan on Sheet C, and our feature match on Sheet D is Australia versus New Zealand. I'm Hans Fraunlob. I'm joined by Ann Swisshelm. Good morning to you, Ann.
Good morning, Hans. This is going to be an exciting matchup here.
Yeah, these Australia-New Zealand games have always got a little something extra. It's like a competition within a competition.
Yeah, this is the key rivalry here for each of these teams.
It's kind of a big brother, little brother thing between the Australians and the Kiwis. Australia has the red stones, New Zealand has the yellow stones. Australia earned last rock advantage with a better last stone draw, so Warren Dobson gets us underway for New Zealand.
6. Mine's good. 6.
2006 Olympian, Warren Dobson.
6, 4. Okay. 6, tight. Make sure he's all in then if you're going. If he's not, leave him tight. 6. If he's not in, leave him tight. He's not in. Make sure he's on that center line. Okay. Game on.
Game on indeed.
Slow that way.
Oh, it's not exactly where they wanted that rock, but it's in a super position to force a little offense here.
Which we love to see. Here is Australia's lead player, Steve Johns. Steve assures me that's a typo. He says he's 43.
Clean it. 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 8. Whoa, all there. 7, 8. Whoa.
So 7-8, they're talking about a
Don't touch, Dustin.
zones in the field of play. 7-8 ends up being right around that center line that you see bisecting the rings, the T line. And stone slips just behind the T line.
Here's the rules of play. We're going to play the 5-rock free guard zone this year. 6 ends minimum, 10 ends scheduled. Each team has 38 minutes of thinking time. Each team has 1 60-second timeout.
Here, 4. Well, we're going in here.
So now it's Dobson's turn to try and answer. Would love to come right down on top of that Aussie stone in the back of the button.
Yep. Is it all to it? Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Thank you, Steve. Shot
Very nice shot there by Warren Dobson. Squarely behind that center guard.
And above the T line. Just a very powerful position for the rock.
Fully buried. And for the newer viewers, the basic strategy of curling. With last rock, what's their objective?
They want to score 2 points at a minimum. They want to use that last stone advantage to score multiple points.
7, 7, 8, 8. Wait only. 8, 9. Whoa, right off.
Steve Johns trying to follow that shot thrown by Dobson.
And you'll see the very late finish, how much curl that rock gets.
Oh, nice shot by Steve Johns. New Zealand stone is still shot, but he repositions it a little bit away from the guard.
Can you see all of it?
Yeah.
Bump. You can either just do that and just sit there,
Okay.
or draw around into there.
Let's play the bump.
Okay, just back
six.
here, back house.
What time is that? 3? Yeah.
Just back house.
Is that much weight? That much ice? 5. A bit less ice, maybe?
Here's New Zealand's second player, Anton Hood.
Sit tight,
18 years
back
of age.
line. Whoa then, whoa.
Yeah, young
Just
player.
back house.
Great future in this
Back
game.
line plus. Close. Back line plus.
Whoa!
He's coming off his best performance yet, and his last game was 89%.
That's
Really settling in here, becoming much more confident and familiar, and puts a nice rock out there for his first stone of this key
See
game.
all of that. Can you see this? Yeah.
Important for a young player like Anton to get some confidence early in the competition. And as you said, Ann, he's picking it up game by game, which is great.
Oh, he's trending so strong. I mean, every game he's getting better and better, and you can just see how comfortable he looks out there.
Back 8.
3.8.
So let's see what Australia's Dustin Armstrong can do.
Back line.
11.
11.
11.
11. Hack.
Whoa.
Hack.
This
A
one's
little
tracking.
overthrow here, a little bit too much weight.
Next one.
And that side of the ice we know is pretty unforgiving. It's real straight if you overthrow it.
We did do a game yesterday on this
The other
sheet,
option's
and
there.
Ann, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Off the boards there. It's not
I like that.
extreme, but it is definitely there. It's
No,
a
it-
little bit
Even
straighter
roll over
outside in.
into there.
It does curl hard at the end, but if you've got some extra momentum or speed behind the rock, it's going to hold straight down the sheet. Now Anton gets to throw pretty much the same shot, take a little bit of weight off, play the tap,
Clean.
Bump.
Yep.
Hard.
needs to stay away from that center guard. That center guard is their
Yep.
key shot at this point. Remember, New Zealand
yep,
does
yep,
not
yep,
have
yep,
last
yep.
rock.
Now they're by the center guard. Can they hold the line to get the bump?
Yeah,
Yes,
that
they
boy.
do. New Zealand lies 3. Nice shot
Oh,
by
and
Anton Hood.
They set up really nicely for New Zealand, and now with this, you'll see
Nice try.
the Aussie team start to play a little
Nice
defense.
throws, mate.
Here's a great look coming in. Brushers trying to hold that line. You get the tap.
And the inside roll.
Yeah, and the great news about that tap is it actually created some significant separation.
3.
5.
Armstrong now trying to run the guard.
Just going to get the peel, it looks like.
As much as he can.
And
Oh.
get some contact.
They do pick one off the back, and they roll to a corner guard.
That's a good result for Australia. Nice shot by Dustin Armstrong.
More pressure on.
Oh, pressure on. Yeah.
I like that. Scott Becker was going to run the corner guard, and he says, oh, how about putting some more pressure on? And his teammates say, oh, yeah, yes, please.
Tight's fine.
Yeah, so that's a good. That's something good for you viewers at home to remember. So New Zealand's choosing to stay on the offense, stay aggressive. They are not picking off that red rock, which is a corner guard.
Line's a bit
Simon
tight.
Nielsen, the New Zealand third.
Mid long. Oh yeah, go then.
Another youngster, 21 years of age. Dobson and
Gotta
Hood
go.
working this one really hard.
Gotta go
They have to get
line.
this one across the hog. They could be in play.
Dobby, go close and bend
Yeah,
it.
and there's the hog line, that thick
In
red line you
hard.
see right there in the
Come on,
ice.
right over.
Oh, good work on the brushes by
Sorry,
Dobson and
should've
Hood.
said you could be
Outstanding
here,
sweep for Simon Nielsen's shot there.
mate. That woke me up.
That was worth it.
Yeah, you bet. Look at that.
Warren Dobson says, that woke me up.
A little recovery breath.
I think we get 2 no's on that.
Well, it's worthwhile when you get a result like that.
Oh, I'll tell you, the sweeping is always worthwhile. Don't let their tiredness fool you or any kind of exhausted body language
Sure, love
set
that.
you off. That is why you're out there.
Absolutely.
You would much rather be involved in the shot, all players involved in a shot, than just watching the rock go down.
Absolutely right. So Australia with the hammer, but a little bit of trouble for them here in the first.
Dean, let's peel the guard.
bit of a change up there. Jay Merchant
Yeah.
looks at it in the
Go this
hack and
way.
says it's a bit dangerous to make a play on the
Yeah,
shot
I think
rock.
that way. Sure.
Electing to play a slightly more conservative shot and clearing the center guard instead. Good choice, Ann?
You know, this is about what you're most comfortable. I think, you know, he might be seeing that straight side of the ice, you know, as a bit of a challenge. He saw a rock run there that was slightly overthrown.
Oh, double clear there by Jay Merchant. Very nice shot. Clears the guards, but 2 New Zealand stones remain in the house.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost a call that you want to score 1.
Right.
I mean, if because the double isn't the most comfortable angle in there anyway, even if you can get at it. It's there, but again, it's
Tight. 6.
6.
6. 6, 4.
slightly steep.
That looks way hotter.
Yeah. 4.
T.
2. T.
This stone has got more weight on it. They wanted a guard, but this one might be
go.
coming into the rings.
Yeah,
Yep,
and they say
yep.
they're saying T. That is a ton more weight.
So playing a bit of an audible now and just try to play a split instead and get some separation, get
Make sure it
something
stays
from
in.
the shot.
Okay.
Scott Becker says, I wasn't
It's all
expecting
good this
that.
side.
Just normal. You're in.
Good awareness, though. I mean, good communication as well.
Super communication. You know, I think they had a hopeful sweep call when someone said 2, which was a guard weight call. And then all of a sudden they went, nope, we're
T-line.
moving at quite the clip.
It's a chance for Merchant now to rattle rocks in the rings. Cleared the guard on his first, and now he gets a chance to make a play on the shots in the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Jams the back stone and rolls out himself, so he leaves New Zealand lying 2.
It was moving.
Yeah.
So that changes the game plan a little bit for New Zealand. You know, you switch away from playing for a steal, but you can absolutely force the Australians to take a point here.
Clubhouse is fine. Decent? Yeah. Don't really want to give him anything to bury behind.
Yeah, now Hewitt and Merchant have to be thinking about how they are going to use the stones in there to score their 2 points using just the last 2 stones of the end.
That's what I thought.
The skip's deuce.
Yes.
Just practice some draw weight on this one. Reckon a nice positive 25. Yeah. It's 20, 25.
Those numbers are the stopwatch intervals that the Kiwis use. They use the timing system between the T line and the hog line. So 2025, Scott Becker looking for about 3.2
2, 4.
on his
T.
interval.
Back 2.
Back 4.
T. Keep an eye on it. A bit softer.
2.
Keep an eye on it.
The front back.
No,
Two.
T-line's good. T-line's good.
2.
This ice this morning is quick.
Set.
Yeah,
Nice shot.
that is a nice shot.
It's almost a triple. Bit unsteady in the slide.
Always looking for the positive, Scott Becker. That was a nice shot, Scott. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
It's going to end up drawing with the slide.
Heel.
This isn't bad either, though. So.
Yeah. Heel.
Yeah, which,
Out to.
Okay, he's going to try the triple. That would be the bonus.
That would be a super bonus.
That's a third of a rock.
Looking to kill 2.
About a third of a rock. Third
Okay.
heel.
Target brush being held by Jay Merchant. Gonna just try to hit it brush side. Hit about half. Might make a triple. Here comes Dean Hewitt, Australian's 4th stone.
whoa, whoa.
Started curling at the age
Right
of
off.
5.
Right off.
Oh,
Waiting
this
for
is
this one.
running.
Catches it thin.
Okay.
Just gets 1.
Okay, Dean.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
So in terms of the force, Ann, where is perfect for Scott Becker? Would you be thinking half in the 8-foot?
Yeah, I think you want this to be right near the center line. You want to create
Wider, Dobby.
visual
Yep.
complication.
Bit of running off, and you boys just put it on the spot.
Let's take a look in at another game in action. Korea versus Chinese Taipei. Yellow stones are the Korean stones, so tough final shot coming here for Chinese Taipei's Randy Shen. Has to draw against 2 and around a guard. Two draw shots in motion. Nice shot there by Chinese Taipei's Randy Shen to score a single point. They lead that one 1-0. And New Zealand's Scott Becker indeed puts it half into the 8-foot to leave themselves lying 3, and that will absolutely set up the force for Team New Zealand. Nice play from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of mistimed stones there for Australia has put them in the situation where they are forced to a single point. But, I mean, any kind of miscue on this throw by Hewitt would be a huge score of 3 for New Zealand.
Already commented how the ice is really quick this morning, and Hewitt threw a big weight takeout on his first one. Can he make the delicate adjustment now to draw and score a single point? He's facing 3.
It's a good number to hear, 7. That's that T line, the center line, bisecting the house.
Armstrong and Johns, the veterans.
Just keeping it clean, just guiding it in there.
Shot, buddy.
Oh, very nice shot by Dean Hewitt. Coolly draws it into the forefoot to score a single point for Australia. Makes the draw against 3. After one end of play, it's Australia 1. New Zealand no score, but they'll have the hammer into the second.
Pressure on him.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to play a 9-end game with a lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you like the first one?
Well, we'll see where they go.
Tighter in?
We have to go first.
That's right.
Oh, it's good.
This side, I see might be a bit quicker on the wings. Inside still maybe a fraction slower, I don't know.
Nice. 4-5.
A little lazy. Keep your high side Dean. Dean on the rock. Dean on the rock. Jack.
5, 6, 5, 6,
Jack.
6, 7, 7, 6.
Whoa. Off.
Gotta sit, gotta sit. Gotta sit, gotta sit. Gotta sit.
Good eyes.
Okay.
Australia with the first stone of the second end of
Just a
play.
little bit of a slow handle.
Yeah.
They were forced to take a single point in the first, so now New Zealand will have last rock advantage in the second end. There's Warren Dobson.
25. Mid, long. Whoa! Whoa. Needs to beans. Simon close.
Now we saw real strong play from New Zealand in that opening end. And with the last stone advantage, they are definitely
Now, go in.
looking to score multiple points. Now the position of the guard out there, that is a tricky spot. That didn't quite curl enough because that super straight side makes the draw there tough.
I'm going to need more ice there. Like,
Yeah, just center line.
okay.
Steve Johns just getting clarification. I think Steve thought he wanted to cover the shooter, but I think Jay Merchant is just looking for a center guard.
4, 3.
Yeah, with that rock curling so far off the center line, the first stone, it's not worth protecting, and it's
Final weight.
4, 3,
Weight's
4.
good. Weight's good.
3.
Not in.
3.
Little bit.
There you see that big late finish.
Good eyes.
just absolutely skates sideways as the weight comes off it as it enters the house.
I feel like that automatic hog line detector should be like a turn signal.
Right.
I'm going left now. Here's Warren Dobson.
Bump up. Whoa! Clean. Clean.
Gonna make a play at the shot in the rings.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Clean. Clean. Clean.
Great look at the line here.
Nice
Right in the
throw,
nose.
Dobby. Probably should have taken you out.
It's Warren Dobson,
This board.
the veteran on this team.
Yeah, the most experienced player.
Dustin Armstrong.
Little down, guys. Little
Not
down.
really.
Board,
Weights a little
hack.
down.
Whoa. Close.
Here
Yep.
it comes.
Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa, whoa,
Whoa.
My roll. My roll. Anything you got. Go.
Looking for a little inside roll. They get a tiny one.
Got brick.
Let's
I
wait.
think it is still fully accessible.
Okay, that was board, I think.
Might take away the inside roll, though.
Roll
It's a nice
out,
shot.
fine.
Yeah, but as
Bumper.
Becker had said after the last one, I probably should have held you out and rolled to the outside. That's a fine spot for them. Pull the play away from that center guard.
Up. Whoa.
Anton Hood.
Close. Bump up.
Anton from the town of Naseby. That's where one of the 2 dedicated curling rinks is in New Zealand.
Whoa.
Yeah, great start,
Oh,
Nick.
nice shot by
Thank you.
Anton Hood.
Shot.
I know there will be a lot of folks watching in Naseby today.
Yeah, and Anton's a good player to be watching right now. Again, trending just very strong.
It's great to
With
see.
every game, just he's playing better and better. It's really fun to watch.
Dustin Armstrong trying to say
Fraction
anything
left.
you can do, I can do.
Yep.
Yeah, now this is a little touchier spot. Remember, New Zealand got the little roll inside, and you do not want to take off your own center guard.
Want to roll or not? It's yours. Rolling. It's rolling. Not really.
It's going to spill a little bit to the wing, and just enough to push it
No,
out of the ring.
this
Nice
is where
shot.
I'd love to see New Zealand get over to that corner guard of theirs.
They did throw that corner guard, but they
Let's
haven't
use
used
it.
it yet. Exactly
Yeah,
right.
let's get to it. This is a great spot. That rock's not worth guarding. This is a little cautious. And remember, New Zealand really was out shooting, in the middle of the lineup.
Yep.
The Aussies in that opening end.
Whoa. Yep.
Up in the last.
Yep.
Hard.
Yep.
Yep. Take it.
Looking for that inside
going
roll.
south.
They might get to that corner
Hey,
guard
maybe they'll get
anyways.
over there anyway.
Sit in the back.
Becker imploring
Okay.
that rock to stay in the back, and it does stick around on the back 12 foot. Well, there you go, Ann.
There's
2 for
lots
1.
of ways to get under that corner
Not
guard.
bad.
Really win. Really win.
Really went. You're dead right, Anton. Lots of
Yeah,
curl there when the
super
weight comes
sweep.
down, and good sweep. Absolutely right.
Yeah, now Skip Merchant has decided we are going to go underneath the center guard.
Yeah, game on.
Yeah, it's not worth hitting back there because if they hit that stone in the back, then Kiwis get a chance to just lob another one under there and maybe in a better position above T-line. So let's force the play into the middle.
Here's Jay Merchant.
T. Line's okay. T.
Mentioned the 2 curling rinks in New Zealand.
Line's good.
There is curling in
T.
Australia, however, they do not have a dedicated
Line's good.
curling
Got
rink.
6. Looks heavy, guys.
So
Looks
the
heavy.
Australians actually traveled to
heavy.
New Zealand to
7.
host their Australian National Championship.
I got it.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Steve Johns trying to drag this behind that center guard.
Yeah, and the way he's sweeping there on the side, on the corner, really trying to make it curl, finish as much as possible.
Sorry about that. I'm salivating. I love corner sweeping.
Steve Johns says, I love corner sweeping.
Okay. You catch the guard, you might. You catch the guard, you might just spin on. Push it on, it's fine. Yeah. Play hack. Positive hack.
Seems to be the new trend in curling. It's not just hacker board anymore. It's positive hack or easy hack or solid hack or good hack. Positive hack here for Simon Nielsen.
Hard one. Oh, hard! Whoa! Oh, he's all over there, red. Whoa! I'm trying to go across the nose.
Nose hits that center guard and pushes the Australian stone.
Dark side.
I think Scott gave up on that back one a little bit easy. Could have gotten that
Out to the
Australian
brush,
stone
mate.
into third shot
Just got to
position.
get out to that
Yeah.
brush.
Tighten it up. Wait.
I think that'll be close.
It was a no sweep, pretty much.
Okay.
try and leave it to you guys. This is
it's nice.
super quick.
Super quick indeed, Jay Merchant. Looking to bring his sweepers into play on this draw shot.
T. Lines ahead tight. T. It's a bit tight.
Touch
Get
more.
close. Get
Line
close.
only.
Get close. Whoa. We're
Back
good.
ring.
We're good. We're by. We're by.
ring.
We're by.
Back
Back
ring, say
ring.
the sweepers.
How far back? 8. I think we're
9.
like here. Yeah.
So this might give the New Zealanders a bit of an escape valve. This is going to slide to the back of the house.
Sorry, guys.
It's just through the rings.
Almost all the way through.
We have got ourselves some pacey ice this morning.
I think it's still quickening up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far out.
It's fooling them. Both teams have a chance to practice pre-game, but we heard Dean Hewitt say, I think it's still picking up pace.
Yeah, no, this is a huge shot for third
Whoa.
here.
Simon Nelson.
Oh, yep.
Really needs some solid execution. Guys are working so hard on this.
Hood and Dobson trying to hold the line.
Kick only.
Yep. Take.
That's a nice shot by Simon Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, no, imagine if they had swept that red stone on the left, bottom left of your screen.
Yep, they'd be lying too.
They'd be lying too.
As it is, they're lying one. Nice shot there by Simon Nelson.
Straight to the guard. There's no way we're missing the guard.
Still positions for them, not us. Even though you like control or?
Yeah, let's throw that.
Okay,
I think it'll curl a little bit here.
I think so.
Are you staying there? Yeah. Try and roll a fraction inside if we can. Just like a couple inches. And then they double roll out. So.
Team Australia telling us exactly what they're intending to do.
Nose is good.
Dean Hewitt would look to roll a fraction inside if he can. He's going to try to make a play on that yellow stone to the right of the brush.
Control up!
Control up. Whoa.
Control up! Whoa. Whoa, guys. Whoa, guys. Whoa, never. Never.
Waiting for this one to curl.
Ah.
Just catches a piece, and he does nudge his own stone out of second shot position. So real bonus there for the New Zealanders. Great chance now to set up a possible pair, maybe more.
Yeah, but even if he had made that shot, it was quite defensive.
Yeah.
There was a double there for New Zealand to sit to anyway. So I think it was kind of a lost opportunity. There is a center guard.
Duck around there.
I think you need to duck around there. I know you don't want to give up 3, but I mean, the 2 is going to be easy, relatively easy for New Zealand. And
Really 30, and you can hear Scott Becker go 30. That's that interval timing again. 3.3 T line to hog line. That's hog to hog in the 15+ second range. This is quick ice here this morning. Sean Olsen has done an outstanding job preparing this ice surface.
yeah, the chief ice technician, Sean Olsen, is very familiar with this building, and it is showing. This is the 3rd major championship this building has seen in a year, and some of the best ice conditions in the world.
Olympic Games were played here in February. The stones that the teams are using are the Olympic stones. So, as you'd expect, top quality conditions here in Gangneung. New Zealand brings it into the 8-foot. Just didn't get cover. Weight was good, but no protection from that center guard.
So that stone just did not curl at all.
Maybe just the release. I mean, every other stone's been moving down that track.
Yeah, I mean, that stone is sitting, and it looked to me that...
There's a look at the stone. Sorry to interrupt, Jam. But look at those Olympic rings. Isn't that beautiful?
absolutely gorgeous. Becker had thrown a really nice shot there. I mean, that is wide open.
Yeah, it was perfect weight.
You got to
No problem
wonder,
there.
maybe that rock's a little bit straighter than the rest. You know.
Touch less. Touch less.
Yep.
I also find sometimes on quick ice sand that the early sweep can have a huge impact.
Yes, absolutely. Can hold the line.
There's the little inside roll. Great shot by Dean Hewitt. Beautiful inside roll. Great shot.
Attaboy.
Good sweep. Sweet.
Yeah.
Great shot, mate.
Great shot indeed.
That's
Good
a
line
great
call.
shot. Well, they got a
They got to run it or they got to draw.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Jay Hugh Merchant telling us exactly the two options that the Kiwis have got.
That felt a lot better.
Let's have another look at this one. Just by the guard and the perfect inside roll. Squarely behind that center guard.
And the Aussies have to be pretty happy with that as an outcome here. They were looking at giving up 2.
Doesn't seem to be curling as much weight.
Well, they still might be giving up.
With a pretty easy shot. Now, giving up 2, this is a run back takeout.
It goes from a potentially pretty easy 2 to a very tough 2.
Yeah, and the risk reward here, you know, this is a big shot for this opening couple of ends.
Whoa.
Scott Becker trying to run back that center guard onto the Australian
close.
rock. Oh, nice shot, but this one is just going to spill out of the rings, makes the run back, but doesn't stick around. New Zealand scores 1, so after the force in the first, New Zealand with the attempted run back for 2. Let's have another look. Just needed to curl a fraction more to get the pair, but it's going to spill. Single point for the Kiwis after 2 ends of play. We are all tied up. It's New Zealand 1 and Australia 1.
Yeah, that's what I was back further.
Boys are keen. You guys will take it, like you guys will hold a shot like that just as straight as a die. Just let it curl up. But, no, we've got that one. That's fine.
Hold it.
Whoa. Take. 2. Take. It's all there. It's right to your
Here,
broom.
boys.
It's right to your broom. There and no more.
Make sure it is.
It is.
Stay with it.
It is.
Okay, good call.
Warren Dobson
Nice
throws
throw,
that
Dobby.
first one in for New Zealand to get us underway in the third end. You're enjoying live action from Gangneung, Korea. It's the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. I'm Hans Fraunlob. I'm with Ann Swisshelm. This trans-Tasman battle between Australia and New Zealand, the near neighbors.
Clean, back and forth. Come on.
Nice and tight game early. This is going to be an entertaining game, eh?
Yeah, both teams are playing at a high level. They've got a little bit of cautionary. They're testing each other with the aggressive calls, but it's shaping up to be an outstanding match.
Nice conditions this morning. Really good. Ice pace is really fast.
What?
Top 4.
All right, we want to freeze it to the top of this one. Let it bend. Let it bend.
4, 2.
This one looks like it's got more.
2.
Get ready and to the end. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, leave this one high. It's just not on the same track. He's just...
You can go now.
No, no, no. Yep, now. Yep.
Wait for it. Wait for
Okay.
it. Nice shot by Dobson.
Shot, Dom. Roll.
The brush is the target line for Steve Johns.
Roll up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And the main thing is get the roll. That's what they're looking for here. They want to remove at least one stone. They'd love to remove 2 and get the roll, but this is going to over-curl. They do get the double.
Plan B.
Heard Steve Johns say plan B, so you're right, Ann. I think he was looking for that inside roll.
Yeah, hard for the roll, and you know, if you make the double over the top, that's great. Good news for Australia, though, is that even with this shot here, a pretty simple house, they'll still have a corner guard that they can go around.
Up, up. Whoa.
The Corner guard's in an interesting spot, isn't it? It's close to the rings. You can do a lot with that corner.
Here's the straight spot of this ice. Runs real straight.
Okay, no throw.
Gets
shot.
almost to nose. Great shot there.
Nice throw, Ann.
So Australia chasing the shot. They're not going to use their corner guard just yet.
Little less.
Yeah, they could be happy blanking this and moving the hammer to those even ends. It's a little early for that, but each team has their own game plan when they start out. And one of the things that we've seen statistically trending, the New Zealand team has been playing better and better. Australia team has been a little flat, trending a little flat, so they might just have come out with a fairly cautious game plan knowing that.
Hey,
Armstrong
just no,
rolls
just for
out.
control.
So it's a chance for New Zealand to deal to that
There,
corner
roll to the
guard.
middle.
Roll out's fine.
I mean, if you roll out, right? Even if you roll into here. Control.
Looking to hit the inside of the rock. Either just peel it out or roll it into the rings.
So New Zealand really is okay with giving up the blank
Throw,
here at this
clean.
point.
Yep.
You know, they could be a little more aggressive. They could maybe throw a center guard up there. They could,
Go half round.
yeah,
Yep.
but the force is not the
Roll
thing
side,
for them,
roll.
so they're going to hit.
Okay.
Well, that wound up in a great spot
Yeah,
for the
wound
Kiwis.
up in an awesome spot.
Leaves themselves a center guard,
Just on
nice
that
and
far,
tight.
Stan. Nice throw.
What she called Anton.
You got to love those 2-for-1 shots.
Absolutely.
Peel the corner and still get the center guard.
I've got a corner guard. I've got a rock to throw. I'd like a center guard, please. Thank you. Worked out great.
Well, that's the kind of thing when you say that they're trending strong. You know, getting lots of production out of a single shot.
Oh.
It's a real field thing, isn't it?
Little bit then,
When you
yeah.
start
Yeah.
shot making,
Look up.
you get good instincts for
It's all your side. Go there. Top ring.
where
and
the
it's
break
all.
points are and what you
Finish
can
on
do
your
with the
side.
rolls. This stone is an attempted come around that center guard, well clear of it. Let's have a look in Chinese Taipei versus Korea. 3 Chinese Taipei stones in the rings. Last stone for Korea's Kim Soo-hyuk. Soo-hyuk looking to stake his place in Korea's competitive curling structure again. Was a bit disappointed not to be the Korean team at Olympics. Needs to draw the pin to score, but looks like it's going to be a steal of a single for Randy Shen from Chinese Taipei. And that moves Chinese Taipei into a 2-0 lead. Important game for Randy Shen and company in terms of their playoff hopes.
What do you like?
Let's look at China versus Kazakhstan.
We play the
Sol Chiao, this Chinese team has been really impressive, but they're trailing in this one.
Let's run it and get a corner.
Jiang and Xiao on the brushes. Just need the full 8-foot to score a pair, and no problem there for Zhou Xiao, and China ties it up. That one's dead even at 2.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Australia stuffs the run back. So great chance now for the Kiwis to set up for a possible steal, maybe a force.
Yeah. At the end, been contemplating trying to go the other way.
Could have. It was moving pretty good there.
It's frustrating as a line reader. You've got plan A in your mind for the run back, and you're hoping that you can hold the line straight enough, but wound up jamming.
T. Where?
T.
Let's go.
T plus. Quick. Back 2.
No. We're going to tap this one.
Back 2.
Got to get a piece first.
Simon Nielsen struggling a little bit with his
Yeah.
guard weight, and this was an important shot to keep front of house, but this one is going to go back
Six.
house.
Oh, it's just that's really just
Let
a
the boys
disaster
sweep
for
your
them. They
side.
had so much pressure on. I mean, even coming up light there,
Right.
adding a second guard on top
Yep.
was the acceptable kind of tolerance if you were going to miss a
Good
shot.
luck.
Absolutely.
It's just really hard when you're a player and you're not kind of firing perfectly. It's a very, very frustrating thing. You've got to learn how to let that go,
Yep.
move through it.
Even mate, even a mid guard on that's fine. So hard luck. That's good though. Still like
So
two.
Australia being let off the hook a little bit here by the Kiwis, but they still need to execute.
Jay Merchant.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Whoa!
Whoa. 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 Out.
Whoa!
Nose hit.
Just a little bit of a careful call there.
Yes.
Good throw.
Want to be careful.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Halfway
wreck
down,
on the
that looked like
guard.
it was wrecking. Yeah.
I thought it was a little hot for that shot.
Yeah, you can hear Jay talking about it now. I thought it was wrecking, but it wasn't.
We don't touch it. It's probably
You know, it's not
Yeah.
going to move as much, but you've seen so many stones break big.
Stayed off that.
And I think they also talked a little bit about the weight being thrown, that maybe it was a little bit more than they had been anticipating. And that's something that the sweepers need to communicate to the line caller
Right.
as early as possible in the shot.
So that stone fully available for Scott Becker. Here's a great look at the hacks, the starting blocks that the players start their journey from.
Whoa.
Becker would
Whoa.
love a tiny
Nice.
inside roll. Gonna have to flirt with the guard to make that.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, no,
Roll
this
out.
is,
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Nose it. Nose it's fine.
this is a stone that's run a little straight on him. Let's keep an eye on that stone.
New Zealand
It's not
lies
gonna
too.
curl up. You got to make the call and go either out or in. Yeah. Grey area.
Yeah, I was going.
On that guard, if we just
We got the two still in play here for Australia.
He threw a 3.27.
Yeah, so easy.
Yeah.
So the question is, who's brave enough to throw the down weight that you're going to need to get that inside roll? Problem is, you drop the weight too much. The stone will move, and then you bring that center guard into play. So it's a real act of bravery to really go for the inside roll in this situation.
Same weight.
So worth it, though, for Australia in this
Absolutely.
situation.
Control.
Same weight.
Control. This is not going to curl.
Whoa. Whoa.
This is not going to curl at all.
It's going to be to the nose again.
Yeah. That is just too much weight in that spot. I
Right.
mean, there's no doubt about it now. That's the third or fourth rock down there.
Gonna need almost hack weight to get an inside roll there.
Yeah, or even just through the rings, right?
Right.
Just that
Same shot.
delicate.
No, it just doesn't matter as long as we stay.
Make sure the rock gets out and then put it in the hands of your brushers.
A wee little roll
Absolutely.
in would be ideal, but again, let's not get too cute. Let's just hit this rock and make him throw against two.
Becker doesn't seem too worried about the inside roll. He says, if we're lying two, that's good enough for the force. We'll take that.
Whoa. Pull it. Whoa.
They do need to stick around.
Whoa.
Can't roll out.
And that's a little more than control.
And that one is going to roll, but it does just hang on to the rings.
That was the critical component there.
Yeah, well, probably just a touch full and it just sits there, doesn't it?
So I hope they're listening to themselves. Just a touch full, and it
Yes.
just sits there.
Absolutely. Seen a lot of rocks down that track now. Pretty straight. So last stone to come here for Team Australia facing two. Looks like they're going to play the hit. They could draw, but Dean Hewitt seems to be electing to play the hit on the shot rock.
Control. Yep.
Australia needs to stick around, and this stone is going to move. Johns Armstrong trying to hold the line, but he's going to catch it thin end spill. Is it going to stick around? Dobson trying to sweep it out of the rings for the steal, and yes, New Zealand steals a single point. Hewitt hits, rolls out. The Aussies get an unexpected steal, and that puts them in front. New Zealand now leading it 2-1 after 3.
Good in, boys. Nice force. Oh, steal. Definitely coming in.
Could get a roll in that.
Yeah.
Both teams. No, I think it might track a little straight in the last little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Leave deuce in the even. Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
Yep.
Corner. Yep.
Let's do it.
Have a look. That looks a bit softer. That looks a bit softer. Yep. Tight. Yep. All the way back in, boys. Come on. Come on. Yep. All the way back. All the way back. Okay. Don't wear
Big brush from Team New Zealand on the first stone of the fourth end. New Zealand lead Warren Dobson. Throwing that one to the top 8 foot. Australia trying to bounce back after dropping a steal in the third. Steve Johns being asked to throw a corner guard.
Just for weight.
3.
Let it work. Clean.
3.
So.
Oh, right up.
Right on.
So again, the pace of the ice. Look at that stone glide.
Okay, Steve. Okay.
Oh, and it slips into the rings. And the challenge of that is it is available to be taken out of play. If that rock had stopped just a couple of inches or centimeters shorter.
Oh, whoa.
Yes, it would have protection in the free guard zone, and Scott Becker's sweeping call tells you everything you need to know about this shot. It's a bit wide. Got a piece. Not that bad.
Whoa. At release is not ever anything you want to hear as a sweeper, as a teammate.
Sorry, Dobby.
I remember when we were at Olympics in 2006, one of my teammates, Dan Mustapic, was interviewed, and it was one of these quick fire interview things, and the question was, what's the first thing in your mind when you hear, hurry? And Dan said, bad shot.
Not in.
Depends when that happens, I guess.
And then the next question was, hurry hard. And then Dan's response was, really bad shot. This is a really good shot from Steve Johns. It's a much better corner guard.
Yeah, that's a beautiful position there at the spot on this sheet of the ice.
It's a big break towards the boards, left to right as we're looking at it from our overhead.
Maybe we should throw it in the rings. See how Dobby's throwing it.
Anton Hood.
T. Whoa, T. Back 2. Whoa, close.
Oh,
T. Yep.
oh.
T. T2. 2. Yep.
Yeah, hard. Yes.
Whoa. 2. Yep. Yes. Whoa.
Little bump.
Good boy.
Pushes the stone just to the T-line.
Great
Nice
stone,
shot there by
Anthony,
Anton.
All about the shooter, not about the double.
Yeah.
All about keeping the shooter. Control.
Okay.
Steve Johns doing a little sweeping coaching. Similar to the last end, the game plan here, more about the roll than the double takeout. I'd like to try and use that corner guard with a hit and roll.
Yeah, Simon Nielsen, all he needs to think about is line and weight.
Close.
There's Dustin.
Oh, it's Dustin. Sorry about that.
76. Good looking line. It's going to get the front stone, but I don't think he's going to get a big roll. Jams it.
Drive.
Bumper, if you ever just flop to there, be nice. Nose is straight in. Bump.
Now New Zealand is going to try
Not
and
sure what they'll do off this line. Even if you roll
block
to
the
there, it's good.
access to the corner guard here.
It's interesting. Just heard Scott Becker said, I'm not sure what it's going to do off this line. Would you consider throwing in turn, even though it's going to bring that corner guard into play, or do you just kind of stick with your safer play, which is the out turn?
Yeah, and this is, it is going to curl here. But this is a way for New Zealand to learn about this spot on the ice.
Sideways. Okay, nice throw.
Oh, that one's just moving sideways. And that's a valuable time to learn about the ice on your second stone, as opposed to waiting until you get into thirds rocks or even experimenting on skip stones, which is never a good idea. And now New Zealand should have a real good command of that tricky side of the ice.
Australia with the last rock. You can see the little hammer under the fourth end. They have last rock advantage here in 4. They are trailing. New Zealand leads it 2-1. So now Australia
Plenty of room.
switching to the attacking shot, which is the draw around the corner guard.
Plenty of room, guys. You don't have any line.
Yeah, it was just a ton of ice there. Just a ton of ice. This really doesn't curl hard until it gets to the center line. Now they're going to move it. But that's nowhere near that guard. We used to call that chicken ice. Don't be chicken. Really go for it.
When you see how much those hits are moving, I guess as a skip, sometimes you get really conservative with your ice call, but you're right, there was a pile of clearance by that guard. Simon Nielsen now. This is where the Kiwis can apply that learning from that previous shot.
Yep. Keep it straight.
Take a look in at Kazakhstan versus China. And Kazakhstan in a world of hurt here. All those red stones in the rings belong to China.
Yep.
Shot, Simon.
Okay, good shot,
Abelike and
Simon.
Jujbai,
Not
Kazakhstan.
enough ice, Simon. Sorry, my bad.
Got a tough shot here.
Yep.
Needs to draw the button. Well, the sweepers are backing right off it. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Terrific shot. Kazakhstan playing them tough. They now lead it 3-2.
Yeah, Kazakhstan playing the top team in the field. 4-0 China.
I'm so impressed by Jujbai. There's a little inside roll for Jay Merchant. Pokes the Kiwi stone out from behind the corner guard and leaves himself behind the corner guard. Let's look at Korea versus Chinese Taipei. Kim Soo-hyuk, after giving up a steal in the second, with a great chance to bounce back here. They're lying 2. This looks like a draw for 3. That would give them the lead.
No. You get it wrong. You just rip the guard.
No problem there for Kim. Puts it right on the lid, so that's a 3 for Korea. That puts them in the lead, 3-2.
There's okay too.
9 member associations are competing here in this men's event at the Pacific Asia
There's
Curling
good. Anywhere at the top of the
Championships.
house, there's good, Si.
They're playing a single round robin. Top 4 will make the playoffs. So it's still a little early in the week to be thinking about top 4 placings, but obviously every game matters a lot. Simon Nielsen.
Line. 4. Whoa, just for weight.
Top 4. 6.
And New Zealand shot 1 and 2 in this situation. They are sitting count 1 and 2, but they can feel that there's a little bit of danger with it after the great shot by Australia.
Whoa.
Didn't really want that little bounce.
They did not.
Great try, Simon.
Simon threw, that's his best throw of the day.
I agree.
And I know he didn't get the production he was looking for, but hopefully that builds his confidence.
Yeah, that was a really nice touch.
It's just gliding.
Normal left. Normal left. Yep.
So the Kiwis lie 3, but that red stone that Ann referred to right behind that corner guard, so Australia now with a chance to really turn the end around.
And that was Jay Merchant's first shot while we were taking a look at the other sheets, and just a great in off the outside.
Yep.
trying to remove at least one New Zealand stone and maybe two.
Remember this tricky spot.
Slams it hard. Rolls from an Australian perspective into not a great spot. Gives the Kiwis a chance to remove it without jamming their own stones. Not a bad result, but
Kind of in-betweener.
an in-betweener, exactly
Kind of
right,
thinking,
Dean.
you go that way or...
Yeah, I think once the double was gone, you had to have the sweepers off. I know, you know, it's tempting, but again, that spot in the ice, that was one of the first times that Dean seen that come at him. And it does curl there once it starts going, because it could have nicely made the other double, I think, and have two under the corner.
Or at least, yeah, that's true, actually.
So, you know, going hard for the crosshouse versus...
or even knows that left-hand side of the sheet near the boards is fertile ground if you're trying to attack.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Stop. Stop.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Coming off the boards a little bit straighter here for the Kiwis, and Becker hits it thin. They do want to hang around for third shot, and they do. It just spins back.
That's an awesome shot, actually.
Great result.
Just need to sit up high.
It's all right, it's 10-0 now, play.
New Zealand line 3.
The line's third, that's nice.
Scott just realized that they're lying third shot
Turn, don't you?
behind those guards.
About here, Steve.
We just hit and flop, that's good on top of it. But if we can rub off...
Flop's more aggressive than the double.
Yeah.
Normal up. Okay.
Double take out there, but we heard Dean Hewitt say the flop, so they'd be really happy to roll in front of that New Zealand stone just behind the tee line. Here's Dean Hewitt, native-born Australian.
Normal.
Yep.
Yes! Hurry! Come on!
Really working this one to hold the line. Looking for that inside roll, but it's right on the nose.
Sweet.
All right.
Sorry.
So I think Dean just got that one started a little
I
bit.
didn't think it moved that much.
No.
No, it moved quite a bit, even with that kind of weight, right?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Another great chance for New Zealand to set up a force if they can remove this Australian stone.
This one's great.
And Scott Becker has been playing just a beautiful game so far today.
Bump it down.
Whoa, whoa.
He's made really almost everything
Whoa,
so far.
Yep.
Would love to hit and be right on the nose here.
Whoa,
Wants to stick around for a third shot. Right in the nose. New Zealand lines 3, so that's the force.
Get in, boys.
Good end is absolutely right for the New Zealanders.
Thought she'd coming.
Hey?
Thought she'd come over, then she'd hung straight.
Yeah, it just sits, doesn't it?
Roll. Okay.
That's a little tester for Dean Hewitt. He had a hit in the last end that over curled, and he ended up giving up a steal of 1 to New Zealand. If that should happen again here, it would be a steal of 2.
We have seen him off the boards a little bit straighter. Can't afford to float this one.
No, you don't want to make the overcorrection. I mean, he over curled on his last one. Just needs nice, clean, simple throw.
Yes! Hurry!
Bit of panic in the voice from Jay Merchant on the sweeping line.
They seem to be holding it.
That one does stick around. Will it stick around for shot? Yes, it does. Single point for Australia. Dean Hewitt using all of the rings, but it's a single point for the Aussies. Great force for the Kiwis, though. They'll get the last rock in the 5th after 4 ends of play. Australia 2, New Zealand 2.
We're kind of good for clock. We've improved. We're in another.
Yeah, last one's good. We just have shit.
That's good in.
Yeah, let's not go all out crazy again. Let's just chuck up a corner,
see what they do, play around. You guys are throwing it real nice and accurate in those down weight hits, so we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Cool. Hang around. Nice.
Oh, we got hammer, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll go.
Four, five.
Green.
4, 5.
Top
7.
Tighter end.
Top 7.
Okay, we're going in.
7, 8. 8. Back house.
A tight battle
Back
in our
out.
feature game here from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. We are live from Gangneung, Korea,
Sorry, guys. A little heavy.
the Gangneung Curling Center. Olympic venue. Game between the traditional sporting rivals, New Zealand and Australia.
It's all right, buddy.
Dead even after 4.
I rushed it, slid inside, and pushed it out. Threw it to
Chance here for the New Zealanders after the Australians throw that first one through to
Tight.
Wide only.
set a guard. They've got last rock advantage here in the 5th.
6. 6, 4. What, pull up. Pulling now. Full 6, maybe.
And we heard Scott Becker say in the team huddle,
No, it's in.
try to set one up and then just kind of see what happens. So
Okay,
Yeah,
Dobby,
New
leave
Zealand-
the
semi
up.
a reactionary approach to this end as opposed to really pressing hard.
Yeah, New Zealand's happy just to kind of hold the pace that they've got going. They know they're out shooting their opposition. They're willing to be patient.
Normal.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
This would be a good end to blank for the New Zealanders if they had the chance, but they'll happily take the deuce if the opportunity presents itself. Steve Johns throwing the hit. Gets a little bit of an outside roll, just gonna hang around.
Good.
Yes, it does. Scott Becker's not so sure.
Take the hammer over into the 6, Dobby.
You can tell he doesn't really want to hit this
It's
one, but he
right
feels like he
borderline,
has
So I
to.
don't want to take the risk.
There you go.
They're already deciding to try and blank this end. You know, once the lead stones slipped into the rings.
Whoa.
That's a big whoa.
Sorry,
This
Scott.
one has got a lot of curling to do. Is he going to get a piece?
No,
Hey, hard luck,
he is
mate.
not.
It's going
Get
by.
to that 15 break.
So a miss for New Zealand. Anton Hood having a look. That one must be close to the rings.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
all of
I
a sudden
know,
the
but-
leads have dropped their concentration a little bit.
That's true.
Let's get these
You
guys
don't want to take the risk on one like that.
back into the game. They're going to have to settle down. Their stones are all important in setting up the tactical systems for the team. When the leads miss, whatever your game plan was is out the window from rock 1.
Yeah, all the way. Really wide. It's going to be
Happy
slow.
to switch if you want.
Yeah, plans are only plans until they meet reality.
Keep going. All the way, all the way.
A big sweep from the Australians to drag this as close as they can to the rings, but they're actually
now
going to leave
all
it
of
in
a
a useful
sudden-
place for the Kiwis, aren't they?
Boy, this has just been a struggle here with these first 5 stones. Not one is where they want them.
For that weight.
Both teams. So now you see that stone coming up short of the rings, the Aussie red stone there, short of the rings, gives New Zealand a chance to use that as a guard. They're going to try and have Anton Hood draw right around it.
Line's a wee bit tight.
And all of a sudden, they're going from blanking
Okay, whoa,
to
whoa,
maybe
whoa.
we're back
Big
on
plus.
offense.
T plus.
Yeah. Back 4.
That's that reactionary strategy that
How
Becker
much
was
plus?
talking about.
Right back. Back 4.
Take the opportunity if it presents.
back
This one's
side,
going to
bring
be a
back
little
side.
deeper
Yep,
than they would have
pull away
liked.
back
It's going to
side.
be behind the tee
Go.
line.
Whoa.
They've got to
No,
stay
yeah,
in the
yeah.
rings.
Right
They've
back.
got to
Whoa, whoa.
stay shot.
Okay, leave him in.
That's one of those half sweeps.
Well, throwing that. Let's go.
It's just as quick up the center ant as it
I'm
is
not
on
sure
the
why he
wings.
was sweeping that.
Still a touch tighter.
Yeah. Look at this. Clears by a rock and a half. Curling, 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 curling. Almost pops out the other side. Yes, it does. But it hangs on.
touch more, boys.
Wow.
It's a lot more. A lot more on the clock.
Yeah.
Well, should be all there based on the clock. Do you want to high side it?
Coming down.
Yeah, high
We
side.
are having some execution issues here in this fifth end.
Just can't be through. That's all.
Yeah, just a bit wayward here,
A lot
both
quicker on
teams.
that side.
This one's going to slide deep and through.
All right.
High side those. Turn to.
Well, that teal-blue circle is 12 feet in diameter, but the teams are going even beyond there. 2 rocks just biting the rings, 1 for sure. Not quite sure if that red rock is biting, but we know for sure that the yellow rock is, and that's the counter.
The red rock must be biting because otherwise New Zealand could not have hit it at the time they chose to try and hit
Yes.
it. Dobson did miss, the lead did
Line's
miss,
real
but
good.
that would have been the free guard zone rule at that point.
That's true.
Don't be close. Hard.
Less weight on this one, and it is moving big. We saw it move. They've got to get it by this guard, or they by. They're working it. They just feather, but they keep the rotation, and they bring it into the rings for second shot.
Yeah, and that's a pretty powerful sweep
Good sweep, boys.
all the way down.
It's better there than at the back.
Yeah.
Nice try, Ant.
Should have switched.
Yeah.
Still think they might have had the wrong sweeper closest to the rock on that one.
Yeah, we just heard Dobson said, yeah, we should have switched, and you're exactly right, Ann.
Yeah, it's, you know, you're trying to drag it, but you also have to hold it straight. They were going for both line and weight, and at that point, you really need the inside sweeper into the curl, taking the rock.
By doing that, that holds the line a little bit better.
Yeah, it just gives you the, it doesn't hold it perfectly. I mean, the rock's still going to curl once it's moving and once it's going.
It's just that small difference, which could have made the difference on that shot.
Yeah, roll it.
And that one rolls. and
Okay.
I don't know, that looks like a bit of air between that one and the rings, but that stone just delivered is certainly in the rings. Interesting.
3-0. 3-0 with your clock.
Bumper.
Yeah.
Simon Nielsen.
Please.
Yep.
Whoa, whoa.
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 Yep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Good shot, Simon.
Set. Yes, great start.
Oh, what a great result for Simon Nielsen.
Yeah,
Leaves
that's a
himself
beautiful
corner
shot.
frozen. We'll have a look at Kazakhstan versus China. So Chiao, they're in tough against Victor Kim's Kazakhstan team.
Yeah, and China spent a lot of time looking at these stones. They were not sure who is shot.
Right, so is this a draw for 1 or is this a draw for 2?
I think he might be trying to nudge the yellow stone.
Ah, just to remove the doubt and get the 2 that way. Okay.
He's definitely going for 2.
Draw it all? Whoa. Do you like the draw it all?
Whoa, 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 等同学。Whoa, whoa, Bling, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Just looking to graze that Kazakhstan stone at the top of the 8-foot if they can. Oh, look at this. What a great shot.
Now there is no doubt.
Yeah, 2 points for China. And that will put them up 4-3. Very nice shot by Zhou Qiao. Accepts the congratulations of Victor Kim. Well played. Nice shot. Chinese Taipei, Korea. Yellow stones are Korean. Lying 1 for sure.
Yeah, and Randy Shen needs a bit of the button to score a single.
Where is it? Where is it? Get wide. Just Aaron. Make sure it's T-line. Make sure it's T-line. Make sure it's T-line. Whoa. Whoa. Make sure it's T-line. Make sure it's T-line. Okay.
Well, that stone comes to rest on the tee line, but not enough to get to the button area that he needed for the point, so it's a steal for Korea. They go up 4-2.
Yeah. It was good.
And we saw a big turnaround in Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, an outstanding shot that got rid of
Everything.
everything out of the rings.
Corner guard still there for the Kiwis. They're trying to get around it. And thinking back to that stone that was just, we think, almost biting the 12-foot
Yeah,
that
it
Warren
was.
Dobson threw a hit at. If the Australians thought that it wasn't, and it was in the free guard zone area, and if Dobson had hit it, I wonder if the Australians would have made any kind of an issue about that, if there had been doubt about that stone being in the free guard zone area. We'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be clearly on, or I can't imagine Becker would have called for the hit there. And
there's Becker and Dobson. Kiwis lie one. They've got the hammer here. This game is tied up at 2. Good chance for the New Zealanders to get a pair.
yeah, and this I'm happy to see that Hewitt here for Australia will get a chance to throw a draw here.
He has been throwing a lot of hits, so it's a big chance.
Yeah,
for
this
Dean
is
Hewitt.
only the second draw of the game.
Mine's good.
And he is going to need that.
Guys, off, please.
Oh, tracking.
Off, don't even.
Right off.
It just looks
They just don't like the line.
extra weight on this. You've got to give it to your sweepers. Everything's slipping just behind the tee line there to the back of the house.
So now all of a sudden the 3 possibility is absolutely on for New Zealand if Scott Becker can sink one around that corner guard front 8 foot.
Okay.
Top 6 first biting.
30, 35.
30,
Look,
35.
boys, top 6, top 4 here is, you know, that is perfect.
Yeah, 35.
We don't want to go too deep. You go too deep and you're just leaving something to come down and then...
Yeah. Top 4, top 6.
Easy. Yeah, so what do we reckon?
35.
35?
30, 35, somewhere in there. We'll put it there.
Struggle to slide out that slow, boys.
That is quick ice.
I'll throw for tight and you sweep it back.
Scott Becker really concerned about sliding too deep, but wants to be positive on this one. You want to be second shot behind the guard.
4, 6.
Held all there.
4, 2.
Got to curl a bit.
4,
Whoa, got to curl. Soft. It's a bit softer.
4.
Whoa, 4's good. Whoa,
2, T.
4's good.
This stone has got a lot of curling to do as well. That's well by the guard.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Leave it high, leave it high.
It's going to sit in the open.
Great
Sorry,
weight.
boys.
Again, we saw, you know,
Chicken ice.
chicken ice. We got it. He's got.
What'd you
I want him to go for it a little bit here. Get a little brave. Get close to the guard. Bring your sweepers into play. Threw beautiful weight at that, but that is wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure
Again, though, that's the rock I've talked about. That one might be running a little straighter. That is now the
Normal.
4th time that rock's run straight. Because that weight was perfect.
And they didn't lay a brush to it. Came to rest in the front of the 4-foot. Hewitt now with a chance to make the double takeout and take the New Zealanders right out of the end.
Normal. Normal up. Yep. Normal up. Whoa.
Yes!
Normal up.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yep.
Yep, yes!
They're close.
Hard.
There's 1. There's 2. Double takeout, Dean Hewitt. Great shot.
Boy, did he need that.
Yeah.
That has to feel good.
Possible game saver there for the Aussie 4th.
Yeah, and just a nice momentum changer for Dean.
There's another look. Just clips the back stone, loses his back counter himself, but he won't mind that a bit. Watch the reaction. Yeah.
So, and now we're back to, if you remember the early comments
Yes.
of this end,
We've come up
it's okay if we're
360
blanking
degrees,
it.
right?
And yeah, Scott Becker said it was okay if we're blanking it. Now it's up to him to make that blank happen. A little bit of a speed wobble on that one. The guys are going all the way from release. And finally they get the clean. That is good.
Execution of the blank is perfect by Team New Zealand. They will keep last rock into the 6th end. That gives them a bit of an advantage. We're at the midpoint of our game. Australia versus New Zealand, we're all tied up at 2, and we'll be back after a short break.
Run to the gents.
First end of play. Australia's Dean Hewitt facing 3. Has to draw to score a single point.
7.
Looks nice.
Right there. T.
Nice rock, Dean. Great shot.
No problem there for Hewitt. Puts it into the back of the forefoot. Single point for Australia. They go up 1-0. Second end, Scott Becker of New Zealand with a difficult but possible run back to score 2. Gets contact but just spills out of the ring, so it's a single point for the Kiwis, and that ties it up. Dean Hewitt with his last rock of the fourth end. Hits and rolls and just hangs around to score a single point. Updating you with all the action here in session 5. Korea leading Chinese Taipei 4-2. China in a tight game against Kazakhstan. They lead at 4-3. Japan leading Qatar by a 10-1 score in our feature match. All tied up at 2, Australia versus New Zealand.
The red ones are good, aren't they?
Hammer guy wants one.
So we're up first. I like short.
I like short too.
Pushing hard here.
It's a nice double.
Yeah, nice shot, buddy. Sweet. Real nice.
I'm gonna go down.
You boys playing well. Those dinos are stuck all through my teeth now. That's what the tactic was. They get stuck all through your teeth. Oh, sorry. Tuck that stuff in there.
So here's the comparisons halfway through. New Zealand with the 1 stolen point and a clear edge in shooting percentage. 91% as a team. That's very fine shooting by the New Zealanders. But we're all tied up on the scoreboard. It's a cliche, but that's the stat that matters most. Australia hanging in. But the Kiwis will take the hammer into the 6th end of this 10-end game. Australian lead Steve Johns, 80% for the game, gets us underway in the 6th end. We are live from the Gangneung Curling Center. It's the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. At stake, qualification for the World Men's Curling Championships, which will be held in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, next April.
Good. Good dust.
Tight guard there from Steve Johns.
Yeah, it's just a little offline. Doesn't quite get to the center line where they want it.
Else is fine.
Yeah.
13 member associations worldwide will qualify for that World Championship. It's a new qualification system this year, though, Ann, as we have a look at Warren Dobson. 85% for the game, 89% for the tournament.
Simon, go close.
Top 2 from this event will qualify directly from the Pacific Asia zone.
Yes, and the
Right back, boys.
positions 3 and 4 will earn a spot in
Yeah, nice,
the
Tommy.
new event, a world qualification event that will provide opportunity for 2 of the countries competing there to make it to the world. So top 4 teams here all have opportunities to be at the Worlds. 2 will be guaranteed, and 2 will go into that world qualification event, which will be held in New Zealand in January. And if they should champion there,
Off they go to the Worlds.
yeah, a second shot at getting to the Worlds.
There will be
Sorry, guys. Couple feet.
8 member associations competing in that World Qualifier event in New Zealand in January.
Yeah, there's a little bit, eh?
Sorry, nothing to work.
That will be held in Naseby. We referred to Naseby a bit earlier on, the home of Anton Hood.
Yep. Whoa. Clean. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, that's heavier than Bumper. Whoa.
That one's
Wait,
just gonna
up a wee bit,
spill.
Dobby. Good throw.
Sorry, should have called that.
Give us a call there, boys.
I'm happy coming around. I don't mind drawing.
Here's fine.
Okay. Barry.
Top ring.
95.
I like that reset by Dustin Armstrong. He has been struggling a bit in this game, so making sure he's really centered and comfortable. Get a couple of made shots for him.
Check. Right here.
Little bit.
Yep,
Little bit.
Hard. Hurry. 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 Hard.
It's an aggressive play by the Aussies. The Kiwis have got last rock here, but they're electing to come around, and this is a pretty good looking shot from Dustin. Look at that.
That is fantastic. Really textbook adjustment. He didn't like the thoughts in his head, didn't like what he was thinking, what he was feeling. Stood up, reset, and threw the best rock of the game for Dustin Armstrong.
Well done indeed.
Yes!
Hood now trying to clear that center guard, maybe run it back into the pile.
Yep.
Gets a bit of action.
Okay.
It's not a bad result. Leaves himself a corner guard.
Actually, it's a really good result. I like this setup. I mean, it's the Aussie stone in the rings is behind the tee line. The corner guard's in a better spot than the one they had been using, right? They'd been using, and it's New Zealand's color now.
Yeah. So that changes the situation quite a lot after that great corner freeze by Dustin Armstrong.
Yeah, now Dustin needs to follow that really precision shot up with this nice open shot. Execute a couple of times in a row.
It's got to curl.
Water room.
It's got to come.
Water room yet. Yep, here it comes.
It's got to come.
Go. Go.
Yep, bring it, boys. Go. Mark your line.
Hear them
Hard
waiting
line,
for
guys.
that
Come on,
break
all the way.
point before
All the
they
way, all
really
the
go
way.
for the hard sweep to get the big
Guard,
finish they're
guard,
looking
guard,
for. They
center.
All the way.
hit that cover.
Good.
Just touching the
sweep.
center line.
That rock's in a super spot.
Showing the
not
New
be-
Zealanders the intern side.
Yeah, it might not be the perfect spot, but it's a pretty good one. It does give New Zealand a chance to hit and roll towards their corner, but it will be behind the tee line.
And once again, down this intern track for Anton Hood. Touchy spot of the ice, 98% for the game so
Yeah,
far.
as I told you, he is trending upward and upward every game. Stronger and stronger play.
Not leaving yourself much headroom at 98 to trend
Aye, then,
further.
boy.
Look at that. Perfect roll to the outside corner guard. Great shot by Anton Hood.
Super shot. From Naseby, he doesn't want to be playing in the event. He's going to try and work his way right to the
Qualify straight through here.
straight through here.
Look at this roll. Perfect. Right behind that corner guard. There's a great look at it. That is a perfect spot.
Now it's Jay Merchant's turn to try and get underneath the corner, choke off that play.
88% for the game for Jay. He's having a nice
7-8.
game.
Mine's good.
70. Should be all
Playing
there.
really
All
well.
there. 7-8.
Line
8-9
only.
to this one.
Line
Yep.
only. Gotta touch it.
Let's have a live look at this
Split.
really tight game between China and
Split. Yep.
Kazakhstan.
Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Chinese stone right behind that center guard, so a very difficult shot coming up for
Okay.
Kazakhstan's Aikin Zhuzhbai.
It's shade hot. That's all.
Totally back line.
Подходите ближе к камню. Пушка.
Kazakh sweepers backing right off this one. Is it going to stop? This ice is so quick this morning. Needs to stay in the forefoot, but this one is going to slide deep, and it will be a steal for China.
Ничего не может.
China now out to a 5-3 lead in that one.
Heck positive, like, heck up a wee bit.
Let's have a look at Korea versus Taipei, and two Korean counters for sure, maybe a third.
Yes! Well, yep.
Another difficult situation for Chinese Taipei's Randy Shen.
Wow! Yep, 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 yep.
Whoa.
Oh, he did it, boy.
Simon Nielsen with a fantastic shot in the New Zealand-Australia game while we're watching this shot of Shen's. That one clips the outside, and it is a steal of 3 for Korea. That gives them a 7-2 lead. Have another look at that shot by Simon Nielsen. Look at this. Perfect read by Becker, and the inside flop to lie 2 behind that corner guard. Great shot. Jay Merchant now going to bring the heat.
The big back lift.
Old
back
school.
swing, old school. Had a little bit of a timing issue there on that one.
Okay.
Blows it by. Leaves the New Zealanders lying 2. Becker asking for that guard to be replaced.
Okay.
Good recovery, says Dean Hewitt.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the wobble in the delivery, and when you've got a wobble and you've got that big of a swing,
that fast.
that is a lot of weight in your hand, a lot of momentum to manage, and yeah.
Simon Nielsen, 85% for the game, trying to throw a guard.
Line's a bit tight.
Again, we've got another player from New Zealand who keeps trending upward and upward with each game they play.
Tight. Well then. Well, it needs to be in there. Tight. Tight. It's gonna do
Last
it all
time
by
New
itself,
Zealand
by
qualified
the
for World
Tight.
Championships was 2012,
Whoa.
so
Dobby a wee bit.
New Zealand hopeful to get themselves back to that World Championship level with qualification here. Great guard there by Nielsen. Beautiful spot.
The middle of this New Zealand lineup, wow. I mean,
They are
from
having
the
a
first game we saw to right now, those two, that is a
totally different pair.
totally different pair. You've got to be so excited for the future of curling in New Zealand.
Nielsen.
Or the now of curling
the
in
now,
New Zealand.
exactly.
How about that?
The future is now.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a fraction.
So, and another super talented young player in Dean Hewitt.
He's just 23 years of age, so a big future for Australian curling as well. 83% for the match.
What do you think, Dean?
Yep. Yep. Yes. Hard.
Oh, look at that. Raised double takeout. Kills 2. Leaves New Zealand lying 1 behind that corner. So the deuce is still on for New Zealand. Interesting that Becker's thinking about the hit and roll. Let's have another look at this raise. Nearly killed. Well, the triple takeout was never there, but he certainly killed 2. Nice shot. He has left 1 behind that corner guard. Looks like Becker wants to play. Is it a nose hit in, or are they thinking hit and roll?
He motioned hit and roll, and then he also motioned nose. So I'm not sure.
Nose is fine as long as he's biting. He has to be on the
Yeah,
rings
he's
for
got to
second
be on
shot.
the rings. And look at, talk about trending upward. 95% for this game.
Inspired by his younger teammates, putting on a show. So
Whoa.
Skip Becker at 95 himself.
Whoa. Bumper. Clean. Clean. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Waiting for this one to curl. They need it to stay on the rings, but it's going to spill.
Whoa. Fight on.
Oh, that's a shame.
I'm not sure that hit was necessary.
Me too.
It wasn't.
Draw was on.
Sorry,
Yeah, I think the draw is on all. You know, maybe he just wanted to make his life simpler, keep everything clear in the center of the rings.
Probably tighten you up.
The deuce is still very much on for New Zealand. They are lying shot behind that corner guard, so it's a tough call here for Dean Hewitt.
It's going to move much.
And again, that rock ran straight for Becker.
Sure.
If you try to run back,
actually.
Yeah.
or if you try to pick the New Zealand stone out, neither of those shots are low risk. Could try to curl around it on the outturn side and hide it into the forefoot to get a force, but looks like Hewitt's going to try to play a pick and try to remove that shot in the rings. Tough shot. It's on the straight side. Here it comes. Not laying a brush to it.
If he popped that out at all.
Oh, he gets a piece.
Beauty.
Just gets it done. Nice shot by Dean Hewitt.
You had a little bit of worry. There was zero communication happening there for Team Australia.
It was mighty quiet.
I didn't know what was going to happen there. Now, all important, that rollout.
Yeah. That took away the deuce, unfortunately, for the Kiwis, so we'll leave it blank.
Yeah, and
not an end they would have wanted to blank.
no, scoring in 6 is really powerful as you take command of that scoreboard. You've got the hammer in the even ends, which means 6, 8, and 10 versus only 7 and 9 for your opposition. And now that hammer's been moved. And I'd like to see New Zealand go pretty strong here.
That's a blank end for the Kiwis in the 6th. So the score remains tied 2-2 after 6.
Just throw it positive, mate, and it just tracked.
Yeah, Scotty's just hung out there, eh?
Yeah. Well, at least it's a tighter game.
That's fine. Both sides are making some good shots.
Yeah. Young boys are starting to get a bit more confident about it. That's good.
Yeah.
They got Ben Smith and Simon's little brother coming along.
I like that.
They'll be a sharp unit later on.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more, mate.
Guys, I'm all there.
6.
Could be top ring. Yeah.
6.
We're in.
All right, well, make it good then.
Sir. I got it. Good. I like it.
It's nice.
Steve Johns of Australia throws one on the button to get us underway in end number 7 of this 10-end game. It's the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Australia versus New Zealand. They're deadlocked at 2.
Tight. Where? Tight.
And I said I'd like to see New Zealand go for it here, and they are. Warren Dobson has made 100% of his draws in this game. And he's struggled with his hits. He's at 50% for hits. So having him throw guards and draws is going to get you so much more production than attempting the hits. Playing to his strengths and knowing you have that last stone advantage.
Dobson doing a nice job setting another corner guard for the Kiwis. So Steve Johns being asked to follow that.
Line's great. Off.
As you'd expect, these teams know each other very, very well.
We're in.
Sit down.
Right here, that.
No.
Well, especially if New Zealand is loaning Australia ice for championships.
Yes, the Kiwis see a lot of the Australians in New Zealand. Absolutely.
Okay.
They're always welcome. Great camaraderie between these teams, even though they're fierce rivals in competition. They're very good mates off the ice.
That's really how it is throughout the sport of curling. And this is the blessing of having a non-interference team sport.
Right.
You're allowed to be appreciative of what your opposition does and understand that without them, you've got no place being out there. You've got nothing to compete for.
It's a pretty lonely game without an opponent.
Yeah, and
Squirts the Australian stone a bit behind that guard.
yeah, but he holds the shooter this time.
Hard luck, Dobby. Just go to
Short, a little higher, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think of 2.
Yeah.
So Ann Swisshelm talked about the hammer shifting now into the odd ends for the Kiwis. So the Australians, they would absolutely love to force the New Zealanders to take a single point here in the 7th.
Yeah.
What?
That would give them the advantage of those even ends that Ann talked about.
Watch the line.
You know, we call that scoreboard
You're
management.
over, boys. You're over.
We're good for over.
Go for line.
Sweep for line.
Go for line.
Keep sweeping. Keep sweeping.
Go for line.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Good.
That's fine.
You took it too far.
He said
Let's take a look in at Japan versus Qatar. Qatar, the newest member association here in the Pacific Asia zone. Nasser Al Yefi. It's great to see these teams from Qatar. They're working really hard on their game. Very inexperienced, so they're generally overmatched against these more experienced teams from places like Japan and China. But great to see them out here competing and building for the future. That stone going to come up just a bit short, but it's a single point for Qatar, and that closes it up to 10-2.
Yeah, and this event is open to all of the member nations from this zone, from the Pacific Asia zone. So as new countries, and the growth of the game happens globally, you know, you might see some kind of lopsided scores from these new nations, the developing nations, but they've got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
You've got to get into your first event.
Yeah.
You've got to put your first teams together and start training them, and they really are working so hard.
Yeah.
And it's a complicated, challenging game for those of us who've played for a long time. It's
You kind of forget what it was like the first time you stepped on the ice.
Yeah, it's a pretty big ask, those first couple of goes at it.
The sport of curling continues to grow internationally. The latest member nation to join the World Curling Federation is Nigeria.
Yep, gotta go.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Good. Okay. Good.
Shot.
Works.
There's a long guard covering the shot in the 4-foot circle. Long enough in that perhaps the Kiwis can make a play at it.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can go at it with the clockwise rotating turn. Pretty easy. Now the whole thing is you want to be close to that center guard. I mean, you want to clip the center guard if you missing this in any way. Great tight ice. There's no chicken ice happening there.
This is
Great
braver
tight
ice.
ice.
Anton Hood.
Clean. Up. Positive. Yes. Pick up. Yep.
Yeah, once it grabs that center line, it's going to start to curl hard.
Yeah, we know this turn's going to move.
It's on the guard, but that's okay.
Yeah, good control weight there by Anton Hood. Gave them some options.
Yeah, and now Australia is going to have the choice. Are they going to try and guard that again, or are they going to hit and stick and go for the force in maybe a little bit simpler way?
You don't want to hit that guard thin.
Semi-aggressive. And also semi-defensive.
Yes.
This shot call.
Normal. Normal. Haven't played one out deep that far. Not sure too much about mine, but we'll try it.
Well, you hear a little uncertainty from Jay Merchant. Said we haven't really thrown them out
Birds will
there.
be down on it. We'll clean it. Yeah.
If the rock touches that sideboard, it comes out of play, and this is going right out to those sideboards.
Normal.
Normal up.
Whoa.
Normal up.
Whoa.
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 No, don't touch.
They'd love it to stay on the rings, but it's just going to spill, and it does go out of play.
Jay. All right.
It's a little firm, eh?
Bumper!
It's a bit of a guess out there, I guess.
So now back to that straight side.
Right, so if this was the 9th end and the Kiwis were desperate to score 2, they might go around the corner guard, but in this situation, keeping their options open.
They're okay with the blank.
Yeah.
Oh!
Blank
If
would
they
actually
get the
be good.
great roll here, fabulous. If not, they're actually okay.
A blank end would give the New Zealanders control of those even ends that
Clean.
Ann told
Clean.
us about. This one's going to be right in the nose.
Throw, Simon.
That does keep the blank in play for the Kiwis. Wide open.
Yep. Clean. Clean. Clean.
Hood and Dobson giving
Throw,
that a
Simon.
solid sweep.
You like that?
I think so. I don't want any more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that out turn side. Jay Burton says that's plenty. It's not going to curl a ton on this side of the center line.
Control up. Yep.
It's going, it's going.
Yeah.
Well, Steve John says it's going. He can use that center line as a guide when he's sweeping.
Yep. Once you touch that center line, it tends to curl.
Rolls it away to the right-hand side of the rings.
I can weight save this here. 90.
Chinese Taipei versus Korea. Randy Shen again with a difficult final shot. Korea lying 4.
Whoa. Wait for it. Room.
Wait only, guys.
Line. Okay. Line's good, just for weight.
Clean.
T line.
Yep.
Yeah. Watch the center line. Be careful of the center.
Now a very nice draw there from Randy Shen. Throws it right on the lid.
One red.
And that's a single point for Chinese Taipei. But they're trailing that one. Korea leading at 7-3.
In our feature sheet, we're looking like a blank at this point.
Stone belongs to New Zealand.
Got an old school line score happening here. We're 2-2 in
Pitcher's duel.
the 7th.
Control. Yep.
Where's this 5 rock free guard
Exactly.
zone? The new rule that's generating all these points.
Well, there's been lots of chances for multiple point ends, but some great bailout shots and a couple of missed guards, and it's really turned ends around.
Shot, Dean.
This game could just as easily have a 7-6 score line as a 2-2 score line.
Control.
You just feel like the Kiwis have just arm wrestled their way into a small advantage, and they just need to close the door in one of these ends.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, they had control of all of the early ends, I would say. They really, really did. And they weren't able to capitalize. And, you know, and now you've been playing long enough. Have you given Australia time to settle into the ice?
Right.
And, you know, you're in a tight battle.
You're right.
Did they wait a little too long to kind of hit them hard and go aggressive early?
No, you're right. From the Australian perspective, you're dead right in. You know that you're being outplayed, but you're looking at the scoreboard and say, hey, one of these games you just grind. Grind and grind and grind. Hang in there, hang in there. And you look at the scoreboard and say, we're in this game. We're more than in this game.
Yeah, and remember, early in the game, the second, Dustin Armstrong was really struggling. Well, he has made 4 shots in a row now.
Control up.
He is done struggling.
Control up.
So now that door has closed on you. So,
Yeah, it feels like it's going to come down to the wire in the 10th end, the way this game is trending. This one is going to spill and roll out. So here's a chance for Dean Hewitt to really just have a bit of a freebie duck around that corner guard for a force.
nope, that was
Sorry
that
about
was
that.
Dean's.
That was my mistake.
Yeah,
that
no
was
worries.
Dean.
There's
Focus
a
hands.
lot of games happening
A lot going
here.
on here.
Yeah, and there it is. There's
Actually, Dobby, take it to the edge
a
of the
lot of
2.
great stuff happening out
Take
here,
it to the edge of the 2.
right in front of us.
Inside out.
But that feature game, it's going to be a blank.
Yes, Scott Becker with a
Throw
chance to throw it
bumper in
through.
Just see what it does.
4 sheets of action going here at the Gangneung Curling Center. So
Now this just isn't a nothing shot.
yeah,
you know, it's just throw it through the rings, but learn something from it. Set a target, throw your normal shot, learn something about the ice, about the stone you're playing.
How much at all?
So, the tight game continues. 3 consecutive blank ends. New Zealand keeps last rock into the 8th end. They've got control of the even ends again. After 7 ends of play, we are tied up at 2.
I don't want to do that. You don't swing it the whole way. I'll give you halfway. All right, we're up to 30. Yeah.
Three. Check. It's all there. 3. 3, 4.
Don't even. No, don't even. Don't even.
We're in.
Don't even. Bring it in. Right up. Top 4. Heavy clean.
Actually, Dobby, come this side here.
Coming down to the wire, heading for the home stretch in this 10-end game. We are tied at 2. We're live from the Gangneung Curling Center at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Who's going to crack the advantage first? Is it going to be New Zealand? They've got last rock here in the 8th.
Whoa.
Tight. Real tight. Tight mid.
You're going to have to bend it off that line if you can.
We're going to wait real late. That's all right.
As the end.
It's tight.
Real tight. Whoa.
The stone is going to slide into the rings. So
Okay, Dobby, need those guards, mate.
no free guard for New Zealand. That one's in the rings.
Quick that track. Do that, or we can go here. Like that? Yeah. Okay, come with that turn again. Yeah.
Steve Johns.
Same weight, little less. 3, 4. Right here. Yeah, it's 3, 4.
Interesting call here, and New Zealand sliding into the rings, but the situation ignoring the New Zealand rock and throwing the stone in front of their own rock in the forefoot.
Okay.
Handshakes here. The game is over between Japan and Qatar. Japan 15-2 winners. So Yuta Matsumura and his teammates keep their playoff hopes rolling.
It's a good way to know, though.
Yep.
Bump up.
Yep.
Dobson trying a double takeout. Looks like it may jam.
Yeah, and he rolls over
Okay,
near
Dobby, good
his
start.
other stone. It's not necessarily what they wanted.
Just didn't get the angle right. Sorry, mate. My bad.
Scott Becker saying he threw it fine.
Inside out. Just got
Slightly
control.
miscalculated the angle.
You guys like that? Yeah. Like that? Yeah.
It's one of these situations, Ann, where it's kind of who's going to blink first. Who's going to make that gambling move? It's New Zealand with the slightest of advantages. They've got last rock in the 8th. In theory, that means they get 2 chances to score, as opposed to the Australians, 1 chance to score.
Yeah. Just the slight advantage. But with all the play in the rings, this is good news for Australia.
It is.
It's an uncomplicated end. It's going to be difficult to generate some offense with nowhere to hide.
Right.
Just skin that and push it in behind ours.
It's kind of like the old
Just
Ken
bumper.
Watson curling deuce. You know, sit them both sides of the house and kind of hope for the best. Can't really do that as much these days with the big weight takeouts and the accurate hitting. There's the comparison between the second players and Anton Hood with a big edge in the stat department.
Positive bump. Whoa.
Doesn't look too happy with this one, though.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a drift on that slide, just got way wide.
Removes one of the Australian stones, or does he? Yes, he does. Comes out of the rings.
Okay.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of a drift, ended up wide of the target. You can see this here.
Yeah,
a little bit of the baby lift, and then he just drifts wide and sets it wider. You can see him trying to hang on. The back leg drifts around. That's where all that momentum was going.
Right. So now a chance for Dustin Armstrong to remove that Kiwi counter.
Easy.
Whoa, guys, whoa.
Easy.
Whoa. It's not moving at all. Whoa. Whoa. Curl.
Okay.
Good.
Australia lies 2.
Yeah, well, a little bit of
Double
a,
of frames.
No.
That's the front.
Trying to get something going here, mate. Try and take a 2.
Yep.
Bumper.
So just coming off that one, rolling in front of that one.
Scott Becker trying to desperately manufacture a deuce out of not much here.
Yeah, and his young second was
Are you kidding me?
chomping at the bit for the double takeout.
Exactly. I can hammer those, Scott. Not so fast, Anton.
Bump. Whoa. Bit away. Close. Bump. Clean.
Yes.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yep.
Hard. Cut the roll.
Yep. Yep.
Roll.
Bobby.
Yeah, just waited a bit too long, a bit of a misread there on the sweep
Should've got on it a
call.
wee bit earlier.
That's right.
Yeah, but should Australia ever just nose this and
That's
sit
true.
off the rings,
That's true.
you
Corner
might
guard.
have a corner guard that you've been looking for.
Yep.
It's not the color or the perfect position that you're wanting, but
Yeah, you'll take it, though, won't you?
yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
As Becker had said, he's trying to get something going. Jay Merchant and Team Australia are going to try and prevent New Zealand from getting anything going.
Let's have a look in while Jay throws this one at Korea versus
Control
Chinese
up. Control
Taipei.
up.
Yep.
Clean.
Yep. Yes.
Chance here by the looks of it for Kim Soo-hyuk to, if he can navigate around that front stone to score 4. That might ice the game if he makes this one.
Hard. Hard.
Oh, they're really working this one, though. They've got to get by that stone in the front of the 8-foot. Are they by? I think they're wrecking. Yes, they are. So it's a steal for Chinese Taipei. That keeps them alive. 7-4 now in that one.
Back 4, back 2. Back 2.
Oh, that guy?
Foul.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm just trying to think of what we can do here to try to
hammer into the
and
8.
carry it over.
Take it into the 8, maybe.
Yeah. Come around and tap that one back.
Not much you can do, Scott. Not much to
8-7
work with
now.
there. Pretty brave to draw around that.
I like that call. I like the draw around.
Yeah, you could. You could.
I mean, you're on thirds rocks. There is a lot of there's a lot of time left. I mean, you could feel Becker. You know, he knows.
He really wants the deuce.
He really knows that scoring here is vital.
Yeah. It's a situation here where when you get to it, there'll be an interesting decision if it's in fact an opportunity to blank. Many teams might just take the one.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Just to
I
keep
mean,
last
that's,
rock in the even ends.
You know, that's some of the challenges we've got with the new data, right? With the new 5 rock rule, we don't know if that's exactly
If
the
that's a good
best
strategy
choice.
or not, exactly right. Simon Nielsen makes the shot. There's the comparison. Nice play from both of the third stones in this game. Merchant and Nielsen both having a nice game today.
Control up. Control
Clean.
up.
Clean.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Just clean, just clean,
Yep.
just clean, just clean, just clean. Yep.
Nose hit.
Okay.
And now to get anything going for New Zealand, you need a complete miss from Australia.
Right.
Throw! Whoa! Up!
We haven't seen too many of those in this game.
Nope.
Whoa! Whoa! Up!
Yeah. Just spit up there, Si, but nice throw.
This one's going to spill off the ring, so nothing in play. If you're Australia, it's what you like to see. If you're New Zealand, not so much.
See if we can draw the pot.
Yeah, and this is a pretty valuable draw if you think about it.
Yeah.
This is a pretty valuable practice shot for Team Australia. And thinking ahead, here we are in the 8th end and that all-important 10th end where your skip might need this shot for the win.
Yes.
And your team gets a wide-open crack at practicing it.
Exactly. It's like the pregame last stone draw, except you get to do it in the 8th end.
It's all there.
Yeah, with no pressure.
No pressure at all.
Yep.
Watch it, though.
T plus.
There's Dean Hewitt.
5.
You know, your sweepers get to practice judging it.
Yes.
Your vice in the house gets to see the line, or the skip in this case.
Right.
Great shot. Great weight.
Going to slide just past the tee line. It's a bit of a teaser for Scott Becker. You might think about trying to freeze to that.
I absolutely would.
No doubt about it.
I absolutely would freeze to that right now.
Oh, didn't even think about it.
8th end.
Scott Becker, 92%. Dean Hewitt, 86%. Good play from both fourth stones. Yeah, Scott Becker immediately playing the hit here. Didn't really consider the freeze for a moment.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of an opportunity lost. I know it's a tough shot, and
Yeah, go hard.
Yeah.
you know you don't want to give up a point whatsoever to Australia.
No, a steal here would be, in
This
this
is a tie
situation, would
game.
be bad.
Yeah,
Good sweep, boys. Good sweep.
Hangs around.
Shot bit tight. Sorry. No, pretty good. Nice shot, Scott. All right. That was pretty good. Good team
So
shot.
after this shot comes to rest, we'll listen closely for the strategy call between Dobson and Becker. Whether they're going to try to think about a blank or whether they're going to consider scoring.
Clean. Control. Control. Whoa. This clean.
Whoa. Whoa. Just clean. Just clean.
Shot, Dean.
So, over to you, New Zealand. What you going to do?
Shot, buddy. I like that spot.
Full stone. So,
You want?
funny situation.
Do you want to take the one? What you boys like?
Yeah.
Yeah, Come the out turn.
That didn't sound conclusive.
Just throw the same weight.
Still not 100% sure if the shot's the
Oh,
nose.
if we roll out, but yeah. I like taking the one here, force on the next.
That's clear. So Scott Becker wants to score the point.
and I wish they had had that conversation 2 stones ago.
Me too.
Just have it a little bit earlier, and then Scott's first shot might have been a little bit more aggressive.
And here comes New Zealand being forced to take a point. They do have the option of the blank if they do roll out. Not disaster, but Scott Becker saying we want to take one here. So there's the hit, and it sticks around in the button. It is a single point for New Zealand. After 3 blank ends, New Zealand take the point. That gives them the lead. It's a close one, though. It's 3-2 New Zealand after 8.
They're going to go all out.
Yeah. I might try and hold it over to T.
There. Okay.
Tight. Tight 6. Tight only.
Yeah, keep
We're
him
live
straight.
at the Gangneung Curling
Go
Center at the
curl a bit.
Pacific Asia Curling
Yep.
Championships
Don't want a corner
2018.
guard. Where?
Fantastic game for you this morning. It's New
First
Zealand and
time.
Australia, and it is a tight one. I'm Hans Frauenlob. I'm joined by Ann Swisshelm, and anybody's game.
Hey, Dobby.
Yeah, this has been an outstanding game. New Zealand's got that 1-point advantage right now.
So how will the Aussies play the 9th?
Yeah, you got to wonder if
go around the
Jay
outside.
Merchant wants to come right around. They might be okay going for the blank. You know, what's your confidence in scoring 2 points? I mean, it's been hard to come by so far.
Yep.
But no one scored a crooked number. We've got the old
Pretty,
binary
it's pretty
code.
binary. Exactly.
The binary code
Two.
scoreboard.
2, 3.
1001.
It's you. I think it's you.
Yep.
It's there. Knee, knee.
Check.
And this is that situation where in the 5 rock free guard zone, you do have the option as the team with hammer. You can throw 2 guards if you want, with a bit higher confidence that they're going to stick around. China, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan playing top-ranked China really tough. Ablyaikin, Zhuzhbai.
He's got a pin.
A very impressive young player from Kazakhstan.
Now, yep.
I believe he's shot 1 in the back of the forefoot.
Oh, so this is potentially a draw for 2. Big effort on the sweep.
Nice one,
Look at this, what a shot. Brilliant. That's a pair for Kazakhstan, they tie it up. Terrific shot, look at that.
Like Zuzbai throws his own rock and sweeps it.
Absolutely, I'll
He's
do
out
it
there
all.
doing absolutely everything and holding tough with the top-ranked team in the field right now.
7. Off.
Wow, what an upset that would be.
Gotta sit. Gotta sit. Gotta sit. Get there on its own. Get there on its own.
Australia don't want this one to slide deep, but it is going to go into the back 12-foot.
Okay.
Not bad.
Interesting situation brewing here.
See what he does.
New
That's
Zealand's
that
got
play.
1 under cover.
It's just not quite deep enough. Yeah, bring another one.
Could
Go
make
around. See that?
I'd love to see them go around that outside.
Yeah.
just follow it in.
Sorry, bump.
They are going to make a play outside in on the stone in the back 12-foot.
Bumper.
One of these situations where if you make it too nicely, you might give the Australians something to freeze to, though. So they got to be a bit careful here. Anton Hood.
Bump. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yeah, hard.
They have to stay away from that guard, and they do. They navigate it nicely.
They do get that little inside roll, but that might be inviting now for the Australians to use.
Look at how all of a sudden, I mean, yes, those are the Kiwi stones in the rings, but they look pretty friendly if Australia can tuck one underneath the center guard, I mean the corner guard, and sit on top of that back guard, the rock that just put back in the back of the rings.
So let's see what Dustin Armstrong can do.
I think we should be there.
80.
More than 7.
Line only.
7, 8.
Sweepers think it's got plenty of weight.
And it's got a lot of line so far. We know it curls really significantly. Oh, it just picked.
Coming down.
Yeah, it really grabbed and moved. It's decelerating.
Make sure you've got the line.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so when we say that stone picked, that there might be a bit of debris in the ice, it changed the path pretty significantly and quickly. It could be just a flat spot. There's been a lot of play down the middle of the ice, lots of
The other
sweeping.
option's just throw a hack, and then even if you catch that,
Later in the game, the pebble does wear down the little
does.
drops of ice.
you like
Yeah, I
hack,
mean, just naturally, the amount of play that happens,
chip the guard, you roll on, that's fine.
the surface changes throughout the game.
And that's a big part of the skill of the sport, isn't it? And just picking up those variances over the game.
You bet it is. The ice starts out at one speed, might get as fast as possible. We heard back in the fourth end, if we remember, lots of conversation from the athletes talking about the ice is still getting faster and faster. We saw peak speed, probably the sixth end. And then after that, it's not going to get any faster, and it might slow down a bit.
Dobson and Nielsen trying to hold the line. It's just going to clip the guard. Going to spin it into the rings. That's a pretty good result from Anton Hood.
Yeah, it's okay to remove that corner guard. That rock was really a trouble rock.
Once you got
And you've still got, you know, essentially double center guards if you need a bail shot for New Zealand.
Okay. Is that right on the tee?
Very just up front.
New Zealand would be really happy for Australia to score 1 point.
Yes, they'd be okay with that.
They would be not so happy for Australia to score 2 points, but even then, they would have last rock advantage into the 10th. And a 2-point score for them would win them the game.
You roll to a corner on this side, you clean something up.
The one thing about 2 points for anybody is that might be the game. No one's been able to
Deuces have
generate
been
two.
really tough to come by.
Okay.
You can see the scoreboard in the background. Only 1s and 0s in every end. Dustin Armstrong.
What's the weight?
Whoa! Right off.
Control down.
No, it's good control.
Low scoring, but very entertaining game.
Here it comes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bend. Bend. No. Sit.
Looking for an inside roll, but they're not going to get it.
Okay.
That leaves the New Zealand stone crucially in second shot position and third shot.
Yeah, and actually New Zealand's got a chance now to sit 1, 2, and 3 with one rock buried under a center guard.
To there would be great.
Yeah.
Bumber.
Simon Nielsen.
Yep.
Bump. Bump down. Bump down.
Yes!
Urgency in the voice of Scott Becker. They're worried about the line on this one.
Yeah.
Anton Hood doing everything he can to hold the inside line. This is over curling.
Oh, and it's going to jam, but it does get it out of the rings, does it?
Oh, that was
almost
a great sweep by Anton Hood and Warren Dobson, but Anton on the inside just held it enough to leave New Zealand lying 1-2. That Aussie stone in the back ring is just biting. That remains in play, even though it looks like it's behind that back line. It's still in play. And it's actually touching the rings.
That should be close, yeah. I like that. Yep.
Let's have a live look at Korea against Chinese Taipei.
Top 4.
Yep.
See one Korean stone in the forefoot, so this looks like a draw for 2 for Kim Soo-hyuk. Gave up a steal, remember, in the previous end.
whoa, T-라인 whoa. Yep. 바깥으로 갈게.
아, 죽는다 가야 돼. 죽는다 가야 돼.
계속 와.
동영아 조금만 더 힘내. 동영아 조금만 더 힘내. 라인 좋아.
Big effort there from the Korean front end. It's into the forefoot. Have they outcounted that stone at the back? I'm going to take a look at it. 1 for sure. We'll confirm that score for you in a moment.
6, 5, 6.
Appears to be a deuce. Yes, it is. 2 for Korea. They are up 9-4.
7.
Whoa. It might even need to chip.
Heavy. Looks heavy.
Back ring.
Yeah, it's up. It's up.
Oh, this one's heavy.
Close. Yep.
Yep.
Don't know quite what to do with this one. It's just going to hit their own stone in the back ring. New Zealand still lies 2.
Okay, Jay.
2 Australian stones sitting in the rings, though, so the Kiwis have to be a bit careful.
All right.
Would you consider hitting the left-hand stone, Ann, on this situation?
Yeah, I think that's probably the call. I mean, you're in a good position. You want to force. You can draw around. You're lying 1 and 2. But any of the Australian stones that you leave hanging around there have a chance to hit the scoreboard. If it's not in the painted part, it cannot go on the scoreboard.
That's right.
I mean, if you could ever just go there. Yeah. But I'm also wary of the run back.
Yeah, if you just line everything up, it might make the run back.
Maybe take the one on the wing.
No, Anton Hood now.
Yep. Go be honest, if you go there, just high, even if he bumps, he's rolling wide. If he goes like that, he's sitting full to take out, so.
Okay, yeah. Come on that way.
But then.
A little indecision here
No,
about the
I
Kiwis.
like there, yeah.
Yeah, it's top 2.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here's fine, Si, there's fine.
Yeah.
So you'd have to call this
Top even tight's fine, mate.
a small gamble for the Kiwis. Conservative play, hit the red on the right-hand side of our picture, and you're saying to Australia, the most you're going to get is 2. By making this play, you're saying, we're going for the steal. We're really going to put super pressure on you to force 1, but if New Zealand makes a little bit of a mistake, they might open the door for Australia to score 3.
Where?
6. 6 tight.
Okay, leave it high then. Leave it high.
Switching gears now.
Whoa!
I burnt it. You burnt it? Yeah.
Okay, Anton Hood saying that he touched that stone in motion, so that stone will come out of play. Sporting spirit shown by the New Zealanders. That's a foul if you actually touch the stone while it's in motion with your brush. Anton Hood said that's what happened.
It was looking good.
Sorry, Scotty.
Yeah, that is just it's a really tough moment when you're a sweeper, when you are working so hard to hold the line, really put so much pressure on that brush, and just lose control of it and touch the rock a little bit.
Just put on the brakes a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it right there.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
New Zealand's still in an okay situation, though, despite that. They're lying 2, and they're behind cover.
Yeah, and this is Jay Merchant's second chance at this shot.
Remember, he was a bit heavy with his first one. That went to the back ring.
You know, now he just makes a small adjustment, weight-wise.
There's Anton Hood. Doesn't feel great, but he's had a fantastic game. Hopefully he can put that away and just focus on the rest of the game and help him and his teammates bring this one home. New Zealand's still in the advantage position. They're 1 up. We'll have a look at it in the replay. Just the faintest bit of contact. Watch his foot. Just touches the rock with his foot.
7.
Got an 83.
Got a bit of room. 7. Hold in.
Top ring.
7, 8. Looks heavy.
No.
Got room. Weight only. Lots of room. Lots of room. Lots of room.
Here it
Wait
comes.
as long as you can. Looks like it's back here. Looks like it's back here.
Make it good.
Yep.
Yes!
Well by the stone in the front 8 foot. It's coming to rest in the back of the 4-foot circle.
Okay.
Shot, Jay.
Good. Not a bad spot.
Interesting angle now. Possible double takeout. They're not really looking at it, though. It looks like they just want to make a play directly to the shot rock.
Oh, just freeze on
How
that.
much can I see, Ant?
Freeze right on it. The takeout.
Sitting on it.
Takeout stuff. I was thinking double takeout on that stone in the wing end, but you're right. Freeze is a good option.
Freeze is a great option.
Never just hack.
Yeah, we just push it back right.
Even just here. Just pushing it back to there.
Yeah, if you should ever hit on the wide side, though, and jam on that
I mean, even if you do this,
Kiwi
like,
stone
even
in the
if you
back
do
of the
this,
rings.
Dangerous.
that one
Oh,
and
just
roll to here. Yeah? Opens it wide up. Okay.
Because you kind of want to roll here.
Well, the decision was really made 1 shot ago, wasn't it? They
Yeah.
decided not to make a play at that stone in the
Yeah, there.
wings, even though they had a burned stone.
There
They
with
were
just
trying to
that 4.
keep that play around the center guard, and this is the
So
result.
really just playing a tee cold.
Yeah.
Let the boys sweep it round. Tee cold and let you boys just sweep it onto it. This is all about line.
So it does
So
sound
what do
like
we
they've
reckon?
settled on the freeze.
25, 30.
yeah. I think taking a look at those angles once they
Yeah.
they
Jamming-
saw what
jamming
was,
would be very bad right
potentially
now.
left
Yes.
for Australia's opportunity. They didn't want any part of that.
Tighten the ice up, Dobby.
Hewitt and Merchant looking on.
I remember where Merchant's ice was on the shot.
That's right.
Was the edge of the 12-foot. This ice is inside towards the middle of the 8-foot.
Yeah, but he asked for Dobson to tighten it up even further.
Yeah, and this is the rock that, you know, has run pretty straight on him the whole game. That's great awareness if that's what's going on.
Working hard for line. Got to get by that top one.
And they
got to
gotta
get by the second one.
one.
They clip it. They do spill and leave themselves now lying second and third shot. Just that little adjustment with the ice, tightening it up and clipping that stone in the front 8 foot.
You get around that one and you're tapping it back, but
Oh, yeah,
even if
it's
it's tight.
Australia now with a great chance to possibly set up a 3 if they can sink this one.
If you bisect center, that or a little bit more is where we want to land, yeah?
Yeah, I think that just wasn't enough ice, even with that little bit of straighter stone. I mean, that was 2 feet less ice than Australia is using.
95.
Great chance here for the Australians. Haven't really had a situation in this game to really turn up the heat on the Kiwis, but here's a great chance for Dean Hewitt. Remember, Australia's got last rock.
7.
Keep an eye on that interval time for you between the hog lines. Ice has been very quick today.
Got a curl, guys. Off the yellow.
And this looks a little heavy.
Off the yellow, said one of the sweepers, so they think it's heavy. 14.1, that'll definitely be past the tee line. It's on the nose of the front stone. Gonna push the Kiwis up to the tee line, not quite into shot position.
Okay, Dean.
But it's second shot.
See that?
Gives them something to think about.
There with bumper. I'll see what I can see. Okay.
There is a hole for
It's
Scott Becker.
definitely there.
It's tight, but it's there.
No, bumper.
Becker gonna try to thread the needle, get to the Australian shot in the back of the button. He knows that will leave Australia a short raise on their red, but he also knows very low chance for the Australians to get 2.
Give it to you boys and you just take it through that hole. Yep.
On it immediately.
Yep. Hard. Hard.
Got to keep it on this side of center line. Oh, that is all over the guard.
Huh? Sorry, boys.
What is the shot for Australia? How do they get 2? They just draw right in there?
They can draw the button, they can run their red onto the yellow. Draw's probably a little easier, but not easy.
I mean, they've got they're looking at the little tick redirect for 3.
Well, that is there, just.
I mean, 2 puts you
Risky.
into a pretty good control position.
Yeah, if you would've-
3 is obviously outstanding, but
If you would have said to the Australians at the beginning of the end, would you take a deuce? I'm sure they would have said yes.
yeah. And that's where they settled on.
We're shot rock.
Okay.
The double's very thin.
Okay.
So,
I like the draw for 2.
yeah, I think it's a bit safer.
Yep. Dean Hewitt confirms it for us.
Leave it.
Ours?
Leave it. Leave it.
Steve
No bump.
Johns.
No bump. Yeah.
Dustin was saying we can bump our own,
Maybe a
and Steve
fraction
Johns says,
less,
please
I
don't put
think.
that thought into Dean's head. They cannot really afford to move their own stone at the back of the button at all, otherwise it's only a single. For the lead.
Is there, eh?
Same weight.
I think it's less.
This is the best opportunity either team has had
Looks
all
like-
game to score 2.
5. Looks good.
Got a curl. Got a curl, guys.
Line only. We buy.
Got a curl.
Good now.
We gotta go. Go. Yep, yep. Hard, guys. Come on.
Need full forefoot.
Come on. Come on.
No, it's going to come up short. It's a single point for the Australians. Just going to wait for the confirmation, but it's quite clearly the Australian stone counting. 1 point for Australia. An opportunity for a deuce just comes up short. We are all tied up at 3 coming home with the Kiwis carrying the hammer into the 10th.
Okay.
Tried coming home without.
Forward well. Didn't that here to throw
I've
curl
fallen
through
on
to
a rock
get
before.
one, so.
Focus here is leave it open, leave me with a shot for 1. That's it. Right, just focus the line and wait. Nice clean, keep it clean. We've been doing it all game. Dobby's first one will be around top 2.
They'll be putting up a guard.
Let's do this.
They'll be putting up 2. They'll be second one, right on top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Heaps. Get a timeout.
Oh, he threw that perfectly.
Yeah. Unlike my one.
Yeah, well.
Three.
Check.
3.
Gotta be short.
3.
Over and off.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. 3.
3.
Yep, bring her in a bit. That's good there.
Welcome back.
That's great
You're
work.
live at the Gangneung Curling Center at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2018. And we have got an absolute ripper of a game going here. Australia versus New Zealand. We are all tied up at 3 in the 10th end. And I think we can say with confidence, and in this situation, probably the final.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
4, 6,
Yeah, it'd be unusual to see a blank here.
Yep.
But I can only imagine that we're going to need every one of these stones in this end.
Yep.
Both teams now all in for the score.
We heard the teams between ends plotting their plans.
Nice weight, Dobby.
Game plan for the Kiwis. Keep it open. Scott Becker says, just keep it open. Leave me that last shot. We just need to score 1. For Australia, game plan, stack 2 guards, play for the steal. They must steal the point to win the game. They need guards and protection in front of the rings to make that happen. Both teams have a timeout, 3 minutes 20 on the Australian time clock, so plenty of time for both teams to complete their shots in this crucial 10th end.
We go round.
Could be 2.
Can we go round?
Oh.
Yep.
So it's heavy.
Hard.
Heard Dean Hewitt say, can we go around? This is a bit of an audible.
Hard.
Good awareness from Hewitt early in the sweep.
Back's good.
Okay.
Yeah, and trying to make the most of the reality of what you're given, right? Not praying for it to slow down. It's not going to slow down 12 feet.
Yep.
Right. Exactly right.
So super quick communication and
just tapping that one there. 2 feet.
moving to the plan B for Team Australia.
Dobson being asked to throw another one in the rings.
See, back toe, top toe.
More positive, more positive.
Just looking
Where?
to
Back toe. T top toe. Close. Top toe only.
Whoa.
T.
Whoa.
T only.
looking to tap his own stone forward.
Get on this one here.
Here we are in that tight game between China and Kazakhstan. China's Zhou Qiao with a great chance here to maybe ice the game.
Lead. Yep. Art. Make him Rick a few here. Fleet. Whoa. Yeah. It's still early.
Makes the hit, sticks around. A big 4-point end for China. And that will lock up the victory for Team China. 9-5 winners over Kazakhstan, but Victor Kim's Kazakhstan team gave them everything they could handle.
One.
A lot of room.
The drama continuing to build in our feature game, Australia, New Zealand. Australia with the hammer here in the 10th end. The scores are tied. Lots of rocks in play.
Go now. Yep. Okay. That's interesting.
Shot of jams out there.
2 in the rings, 3 in the rings, 2 stones in front of the rings. New Zealand doesn't want a lot of clutter. They want to start eliminating some stones and try to simplify that final shot for Scott Becker.
Yeah, I think you got to go for the double peel here.
Completely agree.
Even if it jams on one in the rings.
Yeah, take this one. Yeah. Try and go across. Peel.
They have settled on the double clear.
Whoa!
Big weight from Anton Hood. Bit of a positive release there, taking it a bit offline. Clears one.
Gets rid of one.
Sorry, Scott.
Anton Hood.
Are we sitting one or them one? Hey? We up one or them one?
I think the stone at the back of the 8-foot rings is shot rock currently for Australia.
Action more. 2, 3.
Dustin Armstrong.
Coming down. It's got to curl first.
Very nice second half of this game.
First. Close. Go now,
Trying
go
to
now.
Now.
set the table for the Australians. They want clutter,
Hard,
they want guards.
Hard.
Never stop.
Hard.
Never stop. Good run. Never stop.
Nice shot.
That's in a nice position.
Australia is indeed lying shot. Red stone at the back of that white 8-foot circle. That's the potential game-winning point for the Australians at this moment, but the Kiwis have got last
There's a
draw.
hole there.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it. It's big.
Yeah.
Get rid of those guards.
Yeah.
The wise voice of young Simon Nielsen saying those guards are going to kill us.
Yeah, you don't need to be shot right now. You need to be shot after the last shot.
Exactly right.
And so just a reminder, hey, I know it looks maybe troublesome, but the most troublesome part of this are the two guards out front.
Anton Hood watching this one closely.
Okay.
Stuffs it. Very close
Good
to the
try.
double clear. Those ones can be tough to read. You're trying to think about going inside for the double clear, and it's really brave to try and sweep to go across the top because you're always going to be running their stone into the rings. But
yeah, but that's okay, actually. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
really, and that's
Even
just a
25.
line call there.
yeah,
We're playing a 2.
so the Aussies,
Dice, please.
they're in kind of a good position in the sense that they've got stones in play and they're on that center line. Jay Merchant.
3. 4. Can we come in? Can we come in?
Just it's possible. Let's look at it for
We're on this one.
Randy Shen of Chinese Taipei trying to stay in the game here somehow.
I think a freeze
He
would
needs
hurt.
a triple.
It's already bumping.
Yep.
So it's just a line.
Yep.
Whoa. I'm gonna bump for shot. It's okay.
Okay. Oh, we're shot now.
No, not going to make it. It's a couple of points there for Korea. So that will do it. Korea, 11-4 winners over Chinese Taipei. Kim Soo-hyuk with another victory. Timeout being called by New Zealand.
Yeah, they were about to make one of the most disastrous calls of the game. And he could feel that it wasn't quite right in the team, but they don't know exactly what. But now they're going to get an extra minute of time.
Coach Peter Becker making his way to the ice surface. Scott's father. Also one of the stars of a new safety ad by New Zealand's national airline. Does a little bit of dancing on a curling rink, Peter Becker.
The other one's hit that there.
A run back double.
Yeah, hit that there. If you hit it thin, you roll. But if you get it,
Get the angle right, you'll push back onto the 2.
Hit that with control, we might be able to take that back one too.
Their stones. Clutter.
yeah, but you take that's what I'm saying. You take that away, they take a double in their line 3.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter though.
That one there could be the saviour. I'm just trying to think of.
But honestly, take the 5.
I quite like playing that.
Yeah.
I play like inside. If you're on a good track, just try and catch that one and try and maybe hit that one on the way through. But that's shot stone.
Yeah, well, you get the angle right, push back onto there too. Doesn't hurt.
And if you catch it a wee bit thinner and sit over here.
Yeah, that's it. I've still got that. I've still got that.
Get the 5.
Yeah, take the 5.
New Zealand are lying 1, guarded.
So after that discussion, they ended up staying with hitting the Aussie stone at the top of the 12-foot.
Dangerous play.
I'm not sure what they're hoping to get out of this.
What would you prefer?
I remove that guard in front of the house. Just open it up. Even if Australia makes a double takeout and
Keep
sits
your weight
1,
up.
2, and 3, who cares?
Control.
The play is all in the rings. There is nowhere to hide. You make a double back. Don't worry about that stone in the back of the 8-foot. That's not your enemy.
If that wins the game, then that's
And this just opens up, and if you hit and roll, you'll create 3 guards. And if they should just hit and roll underneath, now you're really up to your own level of difficulty quite a bit.
So New Zealand potentially making things a little bit more difficult for themselves with this shot choice.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it rolled all the way away, but...
Opens up the shot rock. Now there's a clear path to it for Australia.
Yeah, and Australia maybe even just
Not
draw,
a hit and roll, just a draw, right?
Okay, well, we can do
He's
that.
really
Veteran
nice.
Steve John saying the easiest way to get there is just
Yeah,
draw.
that's
I think there's really nice.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
What do you like, Bryce, here?
Yeah, never leave a guard out in front of the rings, young skips.
Yes.
When you have a chance to remove the only guard that's in play,
Do it.
I think you really should do it. This might end up working out for New Zealand, but actually, it's stalled them by a rock.
Yep. Right. You're giving the Aussies one free shot to go around that guard. And here it comes.
Yeah,
Aussies a little bit tight for time. They've got 3 stones to play. They've got 1:15 on their time clock. And
they do have the timeout.
They do have the timeout.
You want to run your full shot process here, even with the clock ticking. This is the shot for the game right here.
Good weight.
Trying to draw around that center guard into that red 4-foot area
5,
behind cover.
6,
Mine's good. Got room. Might be heavy.
6, 7.
Mine. I think it's heavy.
Line only.
They're waiting for this stone to break.
Inside edge.
Still hanging out there.
Get to nose if we can.
Then right off. It's already there.
It's actually going to be on the Kiwi rock and pushing it deep in behind the tee line. So it almost really puts that situation back that was just there.
Definitely tighten up the ice.
Now do you clear that guard?
And heavy. You take a few
So that
feet
was
off.
it.
It's good for a clock. It's good for a clock.
I like that.
90.
Only problem is they've got that then.
Yeah.
Too right. Why make it easy?
Nice. Get a wee rub.
Just
Same weight.
peel the
bump.
center guard.
Peel
Make
the
them make a great shot.
Yeah. Just bumper, roll to the center. Just leaves it for a nice little tap back.
Okay.
Cool. Bump.
Okay.
Interesting. New Zealand only has to score a single point.
Yeah.
Bump.
Whoa, whoa.
Bump up. Bump up.
Yep.
So Nielsen did what he was asked, removes the guard, but now that shot rock wide
I mean,
open.
it's overlapped. If they can somehow get in here,
Oh, man. Giving the Australians opportunities, that's for sure. Just with shot choices.
tons of time for Dean Hewitt. I know they're looking at the clock. It's got 40 seconds on it.
83%. Has hits only 70% on his draws, and a big draw here for
7,
Hewitt.
8. Whoa, room, guys. Room. 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 Room.
Right off.
Room, guys.
Right off.
Totally yours. Weight only. It's all there. Leave it.
Right off.
Already done.
Yeah, I just rushed this.
Whoop in there.
Little heavy, and it's going to skate by the shot rock. It's going to slide deep.
Yeah, it was just a little heavy. I mean, they're worried about the time clock. You could see him rushing.
Yes.
We got to tighten that up a little bit.
So big rock here for Becker. Needs to close off the path to that shot rock. That's the winning point for the Kiwis. Have to say, though, the Kiwis kind of got away with one there. Hewitt heavy with his draw
Top
attempt.
6, top 4, top 2, anywhere as long as it's not T-line. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. Vice has changed.
No, it still looks pretty quick.
Yeah.
Heard Becker say ideal location for this top 12 foot. Maybe biting the 8 foot. 90% on his draws. Trying to protect the potential winning point.
All there.
31.
All there.
Whoa.
6, 4.
Whoa.
All there.
4, 4, 2.
Becker thinks
All
it's
there.
heavy.
Go close eye.
Yep.
4, 2 only. Get ready to bend it.
This one is really tracking wide and has a ton of curling to do.
Yeah, it's starting to slow down.
Now
it's
it's
starting to
fighting.
grab.
Oh, that's a pretty good shot.
Hard! Hard!
Good brushing there by Nielsen and Hood. That's in a great spot. Great spot for Becker. So, Australia, how do you get shot?
They got to try and find a way in there.
Australia have called their timeout to stop the clock.
4 onto the 6, onto the 2, and then we sit shot.
Yeah.
7 onto the 2 is a slash and leaves them an open draw to full 8.
That's a
7 on 2s, yeah.
I don't really care for the 7 onto the 2 because it's.
So then you get the 4 onto the 6. Is that or the?
That's where I'm at.
It's going to be a double raise of some kind.
4 onto the 6 onto the 2. The 7 on the problem with this one here is 7 onto the 2 onto the 2.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, you got to split it.
The numbers they're saying are that each rock has an individual number.
But you got to do that here too.
This is much easier, in terms of that angle is better than that angle.
Yeah, so what Jay Merchant's seeing is that one,
the only difference
if he
is
plays the outside double,
stone in the raise.
You're right.
it drags onto the shot that's going to be count in the back of the 8 foot.
Well, yeah, you have to hit it perfect here. You got to hit half a stone there.
Yeah, half a stone.
It's red onto yellow onto yellow.
The only good thing about this one, it leaves you a cold draw.
That's right.
I agree with you. Read the
As
backing.
opposed to this one, he's got so many taps.
Hitting 2 stones is harder than hitting
You know what I
one.
mean? Do you want him to give him the cold draw, or do you want him to give him the tap? That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, either way.
Steve John's saying
He's got to get shot.
yellow, yellow, double straight back. Hit one stone instead of
I think
2.
if you play this, then at least it's a cold draw, as opposed to just a tap.
Yeah,
And he's got a lot more tolerance if we play this one, don't you?
Yep.
But I think hitting the 7 on the 2 is easier.
Okay.
Yep.
But so what? It's just a shade high, I guess.
Well,
Like
we gotta
3/4 high.
essentially hit it here, mate.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather give
time
him the
clock
cold
back
draw.
on.
No,
Timeout's
hit it
over.
right there.
I'm with you,
You
buddy.
throw a normal or
You
peel?
got lots of time.
You like peel?
Normal?
Yep. Peel.
You got to hit it right here, Dean.
That's where the contact point is, going across the top of the kiwi stone on the back button to pick it off.
I don't think it's going to move much.
21 and counting. Enough time for
Tons
Hewitt to
of
get the stone in
time.
motion. No problem there.
Tons of time.
There we go.
Yep! Yep! Yes!
Great shot by Dean Hewitt.
Andy.
Good rock, Dean.
Picks the kiwi stone off the back of the button.
Pistol.
Yeah, you couldn't have made that any better.
Good line call, Jay.
Yeah.
Fantastic shot.
I mean, she's a tough draw.
I think that's better than a
Tough
tap.
draw.
That's as good as they could do, Ann.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, given the set of circumstances they were facing, now they're shot stone. It's in the back of the 8 foot.
So New Zealand have got the last rock. Need to get one of their yellow stones fully into the 8 foot to win the game. Electing the intern side.
It's coming down and tapping. You've only got to move that yellow an inch. It's only got to go that far. And then
He had just played the other
round it,
side,
you
though.
round it.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Why would you change turns?
Yeah, you can hit either one of those just an inch.
That's right.
So if.
Anyways, here we go.
But here we go. It's his stone to throw. It's his stone to call.
Take 4.
For the win.
Stay close. Whoa. Yep. Yep.
Got to get by that front
Yep.
stone.
Yep. Hard. 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 Hard.
Just by the front. Nice shot by Becker. New Zealand takes the win. What a fantastic game.
Good sweep, boys.
Great sweep by Hood and Nielsen, saving that one for the Kiwis. Big smiles now, but a sigh of relief. What a fantastic game between Australia and New Zealand. Coming down to the final shot of the game, a tap by Scott Becker, giving New Zealand the single point they need, and they win this one. Let's take another look. Simon Nielsen on the inside, Anton Hood flirting with that center guard, but they get it by, and then just tapping their own stone forward into the forefoot for the win. New Zealand 4-3 winners versus Australia.
I knew the weight was there. It was all about the weight.
wasn't that we missed some really big.
Thank you. Thank you. No, Dean played the pistol at the end.
Turn.
In the 8th end, after 3 consecutive blank ends, New Zealand with a choice to make. Do you blank the end or you take the single point to control the even ends? New Zealand electing to take their single point. Scott Becker makes the hit and stick. New Zealand scores 1. Australia with the hammer in the 9th end. Dean Hewitt with a chance to draw to the button to score 2. Stone tracked a little wide and catching the sweep a little bit late, and it comes up a couple of feet short, so it's only a single point for the Australians.
And then if you're around it, you're around
After a fantastic shot by Dean Hewitt, Scott Becker of New Zealand with the final stone of the 10th needs to tap for the win. Anton Hood, Simon Nielsen with a great brush, getting it by the center guard into the forefoot for the victory. New Zealand 4-3 winners over Australia. So here's all of the wrap-up from session number 5 in the men's event at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Korea 11-4 winners over Chinese Taipei. China with a tough 9-5 victory over Kazakhstan. Japan 15-2 over Qatar. And New Zealand with a huge 4-3 tight victory over Australia. Here are the standings. China unbeaten 5-0. Korea moved to 4-1. Japan to 3-1. That victory for New Zealand putting them into the playoff frame. They're at 3-1. Hong Kong, Australia, Chinese Taipei, Kazakhstan, and Qatar round out the standings.
Congratulations on a fantastic victory. How valuable was that win?
It means quite a lot. It means a lot to the young guys. That's a really good confidence booster for us. That's our 3rd game as a team. In terms of getting onto the standings, that's very important. But it was a really nice, tight game, and it was good to bring it out in the end.
So you mentioned your young guys. Talk to me about their play a little bit.
Which play are you meaning? Are you meaning they're horsing around because they do a lot of it? Or, no, look, this is only, for a couple of them, this is only their their first major senior international. For the other one, it's only his 2nd, I think, or his 3rd. And they're both still super young. So, to have good young players like this coming through in New Zealand, of all places, is amazing. And there's still 4 or 5 of them back at home that we wish we could have brought. So
that's great. It was a great game. Congratulations on a super win, and good luck going forward.
Thank you very much.
A very happy Scott Becker and Team New Zealand after a crucial victory for them. Hope you've enjoyed the action from the Pacific Asia Curling Championships in Gangneung, Korea. For Ann Swiss Elm, I'm Hans Frauenlob. Thank you very much, and see you again from Gangneung.
Okay. Please. Yep. Whoa.